everybody. You are listening to the History Boys. I, as always, am Christopher Whedon, and I've been thinking, gang, I'm a history boy.
That's good.
I'm a bit of a. I'm ready to come out as a history boy. To my family.
It only took you 75 episodes.
Nope.
I'm Tyler Ermintrout. I am a history boy that is desperately wanting to go to space camp because it's not a summer camp. It's a real. If you watch the commercial, I put it on the Discord. Everyone can see it. It's not a summer camp. It's way more than that.
Has anyone ever met anyone that actually went to space camp?
No, because we don't know any astronauts, Jerry.
I almost,
they become astronauts.
Yeah, I almost think that
it's training.
It's like, was this just a fake thing that rich people did to make me feel more poor?
They lied to you.
I did research. Space camp is back.
Oh,
okay.
In POG form. Mm-hmm. Simpsons reference, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about how my parents would be like, "You're going to space camp," but I knew it was fat camp.
Yeah, there you go.
You're like, where's the simulators and how come there's no ice cream?
I am Zach Meck, everyone's favorite lovable, unlovable, and I am a history boy.
Yeah.
We love ya.
And I am Jerry Nash, your humble history boy. As always, thank you so much for listening. And folks, we are now in Wyatt Earp's Wild West, Part 4. And, dear listener, this is going to be our first 5-part series.
Oh, we're getting there.
Oh, shit.
Yes,
It's a long one.
indeed.
These aren't just Earpisodes anymore. I think this is a straight up Earpic.
It's an
Hey.
epic. Yes. Yes, it is.
It's an epic poem. Jerry, this one's going to rhyme.
Yeah. Now, last we left you, Bat and Wyatt were becoming sort of notable in Dodge City for cleaning up, as they said, cleaning up the wildest cow town in the West, Dodge City. But as Wyatt put it, the town was losing its snap.
Yeah.
And so he
you cleaned it up.
decided to move.
You boiled it too long, the town's gone soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like what they did to Times Square. It's just not the same.
It's like what I did to those green beans the other night.
Cooked them too long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Fuck!
It's a damn shame.
Enough salt and butter can fix it.
Yeah. Wyatt was looking towards where his brother, Virgil, was. He was looking towards Arizona. There's a lot of confusion with this story about what happens when, who was there, who wasn't there, all that kind of stuff. What we're going to cover in this episode, there's pieces of it, like the gunfight at the OK Corral, where every second is up for dispute. Okay? So if there are inaccuracies, forgive me. Okay, I have 5 sources of this, and almost all of them disagree.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Is the movie Tombstone one of your sources?
no, it's not a source, but
Supplemental material.
yeah, because we can look at the movie Tombstone and say this certainly didn't happen.
I did watch it last night, and there's things that we've been talking about in this.
Yeah.
Texas Jack Vermillion's in that movie, and I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Because he's at the beginning, he's like, I know this guy, this is fucking Creek Johnson, Texas Jack Vermillion. Yeah. And then they don't show up again at the end, and they're riding with him, and you're like, I forgot those were the guys from the beginning.
Yeah.
But now I didn't.
Yeah.
And the Buffalo people, and I was watching Danny's trying to sleep on the couch, and I'm like, oh, I buffaloed him.
Yeah. Buffaloed him.
She's like, what?
The
Wings? There's wings?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, they buffaloed him.
Yeah.
I specifically asked for Korean barbecue.
Ah.
And they buffaloed him. Get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Pretty clever, I thought.
Yeah. Now, Arizona territory and along the Mexican border at this time, and into New Mexico, there were the Cowboys. And the Cowboys were a loose confederation of cattle rustlers, people that would steal cattle on the Mexican border and bring it over into the United States and sell it, at any rate, because they got it for free. So no one can compete with them. Right?
They're the guys selling shoes and PS5s. But, back then.
You undercut everyone because it's all profit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And no one can compete with you. So, there's a lot of people who are like, you kind of have to do business with these Cowboys because
They got bots.
It's all legal
you
because
can't
there's no
compete.
law.
Yeah.
So the brand doesn't mean much.
No, the brand means a lot. And actually, I tried to find a place to put it in this story about how to rebrand a cow. We just don't have time to really get into that. I can tell it to our Patreon listeners later on Discord, so look forward to that. No, you had to register a brand, and there's, when we're going to get into the real weeds with it, there's all these people that make disputes about, well, were they getting stolen cattle? Were they rebranding?
Mm-hmm.
What was actually going on here? But there were families, these sort of cattle ranching families that lived just on the other side of the border. And Tombstone was just on the other side of the border.
Dangerous way to live.
Yeah. So it's pretty hard to tell if they're legitimate.
Right.
Yeah. It's like an NFT. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
I think a branded cow is better than an NFT because at least it's a physical fucking object that actually exists.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
It already has value because, it's made of meat.
Yeah. You can make a whole lot of steaks out of that.
Yeah.
It's made of meat and milk and moose.
It's made
the
of
3 M's.
Yeah. Oh. There you go.
Now, one such family were the Clantons.
Mm-hmm.
There was, the most notably, there was Joseph Isaac Clanton, otherwise known as Ike Clanton.
Yeah. I feel like I know all this, Jerry. I've seen the movie. Let's skip past this.
You saw Tombstone.
I don't want to be like, I know what he's talking about because I literally watched the movie last night. But we do have listeners who may.
Yeah.
I was like, just turn off the podcast, watch that show, and never listen to us ever again.
Yeah.
Whoa!
I'm not being serious.
I want to hear about the Clantons and their hot daughter that I'm not supposed to romance.
Why don't we just put on Tombstone right now? We'll just record us watching it.
Wait a minute. There's a Clantown lady?
She sings this song, Doodah Doodah.
Ah.
There was his little brother, Billy Clanton.
Mm-hmm.
And they had other brothers as well that were older and younger. Finn Clanton.
Is that Finn or Phineas?
Phineas.
With a PH, I mean.
Yes.
Both.
Yes.
Because you could have an Finn Phineas, I guess.
Yeah. It was short.
It's short for Phineas, but with a PH.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Sorry. Not like the Billie Eilish's brother.
No.
Was it Billie Eilish's brother?
Yes.
It was, yes.
Time traveler. I fucking knew it.
But their patriarch...
Old Man Clanton.
Old Man Clanton. Did you read up on this?
Oh, that's an obvious one.
I figured.
Were you like, shit, I didn't write down Old Man Clanton?
No, I wrote down Old Man Clanton, but
you couldn't remember? Yeah, okay.
I just assumed that he was Old
You're
Man
like,
Clanton.
Old Man Clanton is what you couldn't remember.
Old Man Clanton sing the song.
His name was Newman Haynes Clanton.
Newman.
Yeah. Seinfeld.
Yeah, that was Old Man Clanton, and he was their patriarch.
And he wouldn't eat broccoli if it was deep fried in chocolate sauce.
Well, he was actually a cook. He was a cook, and so was Ike, actually. And he ran a restaurant for quite some time.
Oh.
So what they would do is they would get these cowboys to kind of help them, get all this stolen cattle, and they would rebrand them and then sell them. And
Through the restaurant?
Well, no. They would sell them.
They'd cook them up.
Yeah.
The restaurant was specifically for bits of gray meat cooked in slop because it was back in the day.
I just figured it was a front for laundering all the money they got from selling dinosaur embryos. Newman. Get it?
Yeah, Newman. Yeah. It's
Folks,
a lot of
if
annals.
you don't get that reference.
I feel like that's a reference off a reference off a reference.
It's a super reference.
Yeah.
It's like you're like the Harlem Globetrotters of references.
Yeah.
It's like if a super band where it's a bunch of, and you're like, I don't know who fucking all of these people are, but they're famous, and everyone tells you they're famous.
Yeah.
It's like the Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Damn Yankees.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. There you go.
Them crooked vultures.
A super group.
Extreme.
Super group.
You guys remember Extreme?
Extreme.
They're I think they're that band that did I'm the one who wants to be with you.
Ew, that sounds sucks.
Yeah, it's horrible, but it's all a bunch of 80s speed metal dudes who decided to go alt rock.
Mr. Big.
Mr. Big. No, that's who I'm thinking of. Mr. Big.
Oh.
Not Extreme.
But what about the Highwaymen?
What about Wings?
Nah.
Wings? Is that a supergroup?
Isn't it?
It was a super group that spun off into a very successful television show on
Yeah,
NBC.
had Thomas Hayden Church on there. He was in Tombstone.
Yes, he is.
Billy Clinton.
There you go.
Yeah, he's Billy Clanton. Yeah, in Tombstone.
Well, there you go.
Now they had like teams of these cattle rustlers and cowboys that helped him, and most notably, what people considered to be like a cowboy leader, because again, loose confederation. Like a cowboy leader was Curly Bill Brocious. Not his real name. He went by Brocious, but he went by other names as well before this, probably because he was a menace, this man.
Like Spider-Man.
He was
That's one of the
terrible
names he went
dude.
by.
Also dressed in red in the movie.
He would straight up make people dance, you know.
Oh, yeah. He's one of those guys.
Yeah, like shooting at their feet, quite literally shooting at their feet. One time he shot through the wall of a saloon and hit his own horse.
So he's Mad Dog Griff Tannen.
Yeah.
Kind of. Or Curly Bill in Tombstone.
Yeah.
Yeah. The character who is literally based off of him in Tombstone.
Well,
He robbed a guy on the street in broad daylight one time.
Fuck it.
And didn't care because, like...
They own that town.
Well, what's crazy is that, like, the law just was powerless to stop any cattle rustling. And it was creating, like, these diplomatic things with Mexico. Like, we could have gone to another war with Mexico over all of this. And they were getting pissed, you know. And, like, President Arthur, Chet Arthur, he was like, well, it's going to take an act of Congress to do this. And he asked Congress... Like, we have to reform some of our posse acts, posse comitatus acts, to, you know, give them more jurisdiction. Because if you're just a sheriff, you know, your jurisdiction is small, right? Yeah. And you can't go over the border, right?
well, yeah, it's like a county-wide radius.
Yeah,
of
You know who can
jurisdiction.
go over the border? Cattle rustlers.
Yeah. Now, Pima County at this time was like 300 miles big. Yeah, it was giant, and they
It had
eventually
40 people in it.
they eventually cut it to where Tombstone was actually in a new county called Cochise County, right? And they did that kind of in the middle of this story, but it's a whole political thing. I'm not going to get into it. But yeah, Curly Bill was a fucking menace. He was. He was just a bad dude. He the shit he would laugh at, you could tell he was like a sociopath. You know what I mean?
Oh, one of those guys.
Yeah, like...
Like Spider-Man.
Yeah. And he was friendly with the law in Tombstone. Or they weren't like... A lot of people make out like the law in Tombstone that exists before we get the Earps there as like in the back pocket of the Cowboys. That's not necessarily true. They were just kind of powerless to stop it. And they looked at it in the same way as Dodge City did. Where they're like, here's our economy. You can't be too mean to them, because then we lose our economy.
Right.
But it's within all of this cattle rustling stuff, so you kind of got to deal with them, right?
Yeah, that's really interesting, because you're absolutely right. I thought it was like a mafioso type of mentality of grease the palms of the lawmen, and you know they'll leave you alone and let you conduct business. So,
Right.
But
Yeah.
it is interesting hearing that
It's
wasn't
almost
the case.
the inverse.
Yeah.
Well, and it's
the law has to grease their palms.
yeah, and it's well, and it's sort of both. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of both. You know, because there were people that were like, you know, if I cozy up to these cowboys, they're really not gonna fuck with me, and they might provide protection. You know, like
Right.
So it is sort of that. You know what I mean? It's both those.
It's
things.
like a weird symbiotic relationship,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't push either way,
right.
too much,
Right.
because you either lose all of your commerce or you lose all your law enforcement. And when the people who are kind of breaking the law need law enforcement, they're not going to be there for them if they're not following at least some of the rules.
Exactly, and that is the whole problem in Tombstone. That's it's what causes all of this stuff, is what you just said. Now, another one of these cowboys that you might have heard of is a fellow by the name of John Ringo.
Yes.
His real name.
He's the drummer for the band.
No.
Yeah, Ringo and the Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ringo and the Beats is what I believe the
He was the
band's
front
called.
man, right?
Yeah,
he is.
They put the drums out front
Yeah.
because he was so good at them.
Yeah. They put the singer in the back.
I'm going to be honest. Ringo was a
Block
better
the
drummer than
gunfire.
I was.
That's fair. Now, there's a myth that Johnny Ringo was an educated man. He was not. He didn't make it past, like, 2nd grade or something like that.
Oh,
He was a
okay.
bit of a dullard.
Well, just most of these guys
None of them
were illiterate
Like,
and
you
uneducated
graduated
men.
high school, then they were like, holy shit.
They
Well-
had street smarts.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
only people with like money and well-established places in the East went to graded schools. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
people out west, if you went to school, went to a one-room schoolhouse.
If
You
they-
know?
yeah.
If they
Most
had
of the time.
a Facebook account today under education, it would say School of Hard Knocks.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes.
On their Tinder. And say their height, if that matters.
Yeah.
'Cause I guess that matters.
Yeah.
I'm 6'2", by the way.
6'2", taken.
Tallest history boy.
One time, to show you just what kind of guy Johnny Ringo was, one time he was drunk in a saloon and poured a guy shot of whiskey, and the guy said he was more of a beer man. And Johnny Ringo got infuriated by this, the fact that he refused to drink the whiskey, and commenced a shootout with this guy, like killed the guy. You know?
Commenced to jiggling.
Yeah.
Commenced to murdering.
Yeah. Now, one of these border disputes with these cowboys and the Clantons, which really sinks the nail home that the Clantons were more than just buyers of stolen cattle, they were actually participating in this, is there was one point where basically the Mexican government said to the United States government, if you're not going to do anything about this, we are. And they sent out, like, Mexican federal forces,
Federales.
and they surrounded them in this canyon, and they opened fire on them and killed almost every single person there. 2 of them pretended to be dead and survived, but one of them that was killed was Old Man Clanton. His body fell into the fire that he was cooking in front of.
Oh, shit.
And he went on
like-
Son.
Yeah. And he, like, caught, like, his body was in the fire, and it, like, got all burnt
He got
and
roasted.
stuff. Yeah.
Would you say that he was smoking like a cigarello?
Hey.
Sorry,
Bless
I
Chris.
had to sneeze. Because he took my joke.
You're allergic to
Joke stealing.
getting your jokes.
Carlos Mencia over here.
Yeah. And Joe Rogan over here.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough.
I am the Joe Rogan of this podcast.
Yeah, one guy, the way he pretended to be dead, right, laid there, and, like, this Mexican soldier rode past him on his horse and shot a gunshot, like, next to him, like, it hit the dirt next to him, and he didn't move. That would scare the shit out of me.
He was paying attention.
Is there a
He's
chance
probably
that
looking at his phone.
Old Man Clanton? That's good. But I got momentum.
You know kids these days.
Old Man Clanton didn't get shot, but played dead into his fire and was like, if I just wait here long enough, they'll go. And then he just died.
Doubt it.
That'd be hilarious. He was a stubborn old man.
Yeah.
Stubborn enough to allow himself to burn. He's like, I've already committed to this pretending to be dead thing. I'm just gonna...
Yeah.
So it's
Write
like
it
he
out.
had the right to remain burnt.
Yeah. Now, another...
Fucking terrible. Doesn't even make sense.
No.
I don't know.
You have the right to remain dead.
There's a lot of those lines in Tombstone as well. Another one of these families were the McClurys, or McClowrys. I've heard it pronounced both ways.
McCleesy's.
McClizzles.
And most notably, there was Frank and Tom McClowry, right? And they were a family that bought and sold stolen cattle, right? Or a lot of people think. Some people disagree with that because their registered brand was different from what some people say they were rebranded.
Oh, they were on the
as,
up and up.
right? They did associate with Curly Bill and John Ringo and, like, the Cowboys. They associated with these people, but you gotta remember that, like, it's the only way to do business.
Yeah. And if you want to be
cannot
on the up and
compete.
up, you can't just not associate with them,
Yeah.
right?
Also, all the cowboys had really hot sisters. And they're like, man, I don't like these crimes that these guys are doing, but sometimes the deals are solid and their sisters are smoking hot. So I'm hoping maybe I can do a deal and get a little time alone to let them know what I'm about and maybe make them fall in love with me.
Almost, that's
Fall in love with
definitely
me.
not true.
Okay, well,
They were definitely estranged from all of their families.
fair enough.
Yeah, their hot sisters were back in, I don't know,
Canada.
Canada. With Bat Masterson's family.
At this time, Batten Masterson's family was in Wichita. Just want to let you know. Anyway,
His, extended family.
I guess so.
His extended family had owned the summer camp up in Canada that the Hot
Yeah.
Sisters would go to.
Yeah, that all their hot girlfriends were at.
Yeah.
That's where they met them.
They all went to other schools.
They all dated each other's sisters.
Exactly.
Okay. Now in Tombstone, which was a silver boom town, because, there was a miner. I kind of mentioned this last episode. But there was a miner that was looking for silver, and they said, the only thing you're going to find out in that desert is your own tombstone.
Badass.
And the name kind of stuck.
Cue
right?
credits.
Turns
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Is that beginning credits or end credits?
Either.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's the story. That would be the story of. Yeah, I was right. That's all he found out there. He died.
Roll credits. Yeah. A few people that you should know about that were in Tombstone that were really involved in the law and in the town. One man's name was John Behan, or John Behan, and he was all over the Southwest. Really, he was in California, San Francisco, all these places. He was involved with the law, a lot like Wyatt, honestly. He was a good-looking guy. He was a ladies' man. He was an
Ooh.
adulterer.
Yeah.
Checks all the boxes so far.
You didn't have to be good looking to be an adulterer.
Yeah, that's
True.
true.
But it helped.
Yeah.
Oh, it helped a lot.
He was a good-looking guy. He had children with his first wife, but ended up falling in love with another woman, whose name was Josephine Marcuse, which was later anglicized to Marcus, Josephine Marcus.
How soiled was this dough?
Okay, let me get to it.
Okay.
So she claims, and we know this because she said so, and you'll realize in the next episode why all this stuff comes to light. But she says that her parents were Jewish immigrants to California, and they most certainly were not rich, like the end of the movie Tombstone
Yeah, that
says.
felt a little like,
Oh, it's going to be great now.
it's like, don't
That's
worry.
the end.
My parents are rich. We're like, oh, good. Because he's broke.
Yeah. But she claims that she joined, like, an acting troupe, and they, performed these, like, operas and things like that. She was a singer and an entertainer. When she came to Tombstone, she says that she was an actress and a singer and a performer, but there's more evidence to say that she was probably a soiled dove in Tombstone.
But she was friends with Billy Zane, who is, as we know, a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy, and also a bit of a soiled dove himself.
Prettiest man I've ever seen.
Yeah.
There's also evidence that maybe she went by the name Sadie in Tombstone
Used to be my homeboy's lady.
as a soiled dove because Wyatt sometimes called her Sadie. A lot of people said that Johnny Behan's favorite prostitute was a lady named Sadie.
They called everyone Sadie back then.
Yeah, yeah. She fell in love with him. They were on again, off again because he couldn't say no to more soiled doves. You know, he was a toot man.
He was a toot man. Ever since a boy.
Yeah, he was a toot man, even in high school.
Well, that,
Prostitutes, that is. Tim and Eric reference.
I mean, if you're single and there's not a lot going on,
they're sex work positive.
I
I
am
think.
100% sex work positive.
Make it legal, protect the women. I'm all. If that's
Do
their
not
right to make those
tell
decisions.
my wife about my decisions on this. I'm kidding.
Yeah, it would get rid of pimps and stuff like that. People
That's-
like Wyatt.
Well, no, they should be
Yeah.
running their own show for sure.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of Wyatt. right now. Is he already dead?
No.
I mean, now, in 2022?
Most certainly.
You're like, no, don't ruin it. He becomes immortal at the end. He becomes a vampire.
Yeah.
He stalks us to this day.
There was one of, when Bean got, like, the sheriff's office, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit later, one of his deputies, a guy that really was close with Johnny Bean, he was a guy named Billy Breckenridge. I just want to say, fuck Billy Breckenridge. Right off the top. Fuck
him.
Okay.
Fuck Billy Breckenridge. The biggest reason, but there'll be more reasons later, the biggest reason, though, just right off the top in the beginning, is before he got to Tombstone, he took part in the Sand Creek Massacre.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
Jason Priestley?
The Chivington Massacre.
Sorry, I'm trying to not reference the movie too much.
So, real quick for the viewers at home, just to recap, what was the Chivington Massacre?
That's when he wanted to kill a bunch of Native Americans, didn't care who they were, waited until the males of the tribe were gone, and ordered his troops to slaughter Native Americans that were already on reservation land.
Jesus fucking
So yeah,
Christ.
Chivington, Sandy Creek,
Yeah.
Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do talk about that.
Yep.
You'll never see me coming.
Wyatt and Maddie Blaylock, they packed up their shit and they started going to Arizona. And on the way, they hit Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Bam, bam, bam,
And-
bam, bam, bam,
which
bam,
is
bam,
where
bam,
they
bam,
ran
bam,
into-
bam, bam.
They ran into none other,
Dr. Gonzo.
Doc Holliday.
Even better.
Because he was off the shooting incident,
Yeah.
and he's looking to get away from Las
What is
Vegas,
I
New
thought you were
Mexico.
going to say, and he's looking like he's going to die yesterday.
Also that.
He's got the consumption.
Yes.
Big time.
Big time. He's in like stage 3 of consumption. Like, this dude is not looking good.
There's not a lot left.
They present
to
that pretty
consume.
well in the movie, I will say.
Yeah,
he looks like
He
shit.
looks like shit. He should have had less weight, though. Like, picture him with less weight.
I think that's why he's wearing a lot of layers, too.
It should have been.
Well, he also
part of
has
it is
a
so
he also has a
sweats.
fever. He has a fever all the time.
Right.
They should have taken Val Kilmer now and grafted it onto Val Kilmer then.
Ouch. No, Val Kilmer's gained some weight since he
A
lost
bit.
it.
Yeah.
He actually, like... he
You'd be nice to Val Kilmer. He's
you'd
had
be
a
nice
hard
to
time
Val.
in life.
Yeah.
You do be nice to Val Kilmer.
Yeah. I mean, he is in the room.
He's sitting right there.
Yeah.
No,
Why don't you speak up and say something, Val?
Shut up, Val.
What's wrong? Cat got your tongue? Anyway.
Yeah.
oh, dude.
So mean.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he was Jim Morrison. I'm sorry.
That is a redemption story, Val Kilmer is. But yeah, he showed up and, like, Doc, like, walked out in the street and just saw him. Like, he didn't know he was coming, he didn't know he was going to see him, so, like, they have this reunion.
That's fucking weird.
It is. I think Wyatt sort of knew he was there,
Oh, why was stalking his ass?
but
Checked
Doc
it.
didn't.
Like, saw what his posts on Facebook were and tried to be around there at
He
the
was
right time.
tasting the dirt and then sticking his finger in the air
Yeah.
to feel the direction of the wind and
Well-
listening to the ground, learning all the ways that the ways that he had learned.
He was using the power of nature.
Well, to
Yeah,
be fair,
in a big way.
it was the end of the line at that point. So,
Okay.
like, you got to go the rest of the way in, like, a stage or a carriage or something.
He got off
You
the
know?
last bus stop and found his friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've
So
all
is
been there.
that part in the movie where they get off the train? Is that
Yep.
in
Yep. That's at the very beginning of the movie.
Las
so
Vegas, New?
that's technically that's Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Because they do take a
Yeah.
carriage on the way.
Doc was going to go with Wyatt to Tombstone, and Kate Elder, Big Nose Kate,
Big gun Kate.
she didn't want to go, Doc, because she didn't like the Earps. Probably, some people say that she may have known the Earps back in the Wichita days. That's why Wyatt knew her name before Kate Elder, right?
She's like, listen, Wyatt, I don't like you, you don't like me. He's like, I like you. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
And then they all went to Tombstone.
Simpsons reference.
Yes.
Anyway,
Moses Lag,
yeah.
who would be, if The Simpsons did Wyatt Earp, he would be Wyatt Earp.
Yeah.
You know when they did like Homer's Odyssey and shit?
Yeah. Treehouse Horse kind of situation.
So Kate went to Globe, and Doc and Wyatt and Maddie Blaylock went to Tombstone, and some people say that they bonded along the way, you know, and became better friends along the way. Some people say they didn't travel together at all. This shows you how crazy the divide is.
It's a
right?
fragmented narrative.
Yeah.
I mean, this stuff has got to be based off word of mouth from the Earps,
right.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
And they're keeping journals, like...
Well, something that made me feel better about this whole series is Bob Bosbell, who's like my favorite Wild West historian in this topic. He was like, my first book, I thought like all these historians that I looked up to would like welcome me into like their league, you know? And instead they were like, there's a mistake on every page. And he's like, it hurt a lot, but it made me, it sort of made me feel better. That, like,
don't have to listen to this podcast.
Well, that even like Bob Bosbell like gets shit. You know what I mean?
They're
So,
gonna be
I
like, why
have
are they
watched
joking around?
enough documentaries about the Old West to know that if you are an Old West historian or documentarian, you dress like a cowboy. Modern day.
You got a mustache.
You got a mustache.
You wear the Jerry shirt.
You pretty much just look like Wilford Brimley.
Yeah. You look
Okay.
like one of the Earps.
You know what I thought was interesting was, while watching the movie, by the way, I looked up the actual the characters that they're playing, the real people, and the mustaches are downplayed in those movies.
Oh yeah.
They have these giant mustaches in the movie. Nothing compared to reality.
To the real mustache.
It's crazy too because the mustaches also had guns back then.
Oh yeah. It's
Also,
like
pretty good
Yosemite
casting.
Sam.
Pretty good casting.
Oh, I think
The guy that plays Johnny Bean looks just like Johnny Bean.
Oh yeah,
Behan.
yeah. Some of them. I mean, there's is there one picture of Texas Jack? Okay,
Texas Jack, yeah.
I still think Toby Huss. We said that in our
Yeah, Texas Jack Million.
yeah. I'm the Wiz.
Yeah.
Toby Huss.
Toby Huss.
Yeah. Maddie... How do I put this? Maddie was more in love with Wyatt than Wyatt was in love with Maddie. She got real bad headaches. She didn't really know how to mitigate their relationship. So she took care of those headaches with laudanum. She became a laudanum addict. And even more so when they got to Tombstone.
She's drinking morphine, guys.
Well, morphine mixed with alcohol.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I,
opium mixed with alcohol.
I feel like when you're drinking opium mixed with alcohol, opium's the active ingredient.
Yeah.
Now, Virgil, when they got to Tombstone, he was actually the marshal. Marshal's deputy, federal marshal deputy, because Marshal Dake deputized him.
He was already running shit.
He was a lawman when they got there,
That's convenient.
which is way different than the movie. Virgil was incorruptible too. Like he even arrested and fined his own brothers. You know what I mean? Like for riding their horses too fast, stuff like that. He was really trying to impose the law.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What a fucking dick.
Well, you don't want to seem corruptible.
Yeah.
You can be semi-scrupled.
Yeah. Later on, Virgil would impose the Ordinance Number 9 on Tombstone, which just means that you can't carry guns in town anymore.
That's 2 scoops of raisins, right?
Which is gun control.
Yeah.
You know? It was gun control.
It's like you can still own guns. You can still carry your gun. You just can't do it in town.
Boo!
Yeah.
Boo!
How am I supposed to shoot things to make them the way I want them to be?
How much?
We just shoot guns in the air. I just want to shoot my guns in the air.
I want to shoot my guns I want to shoot my guns at the people on the stage in the theater.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to get on my horse if I can't shoot the ground?
Rocket jump on-
Yeah,
Yeah,
rocket
rocket
jump onto the horse. Yeah.
By the way, that scene in Tombstone where they're like shooting at the stage, that would have never happened.
Yeah, that's extreme.
You would have gotten buffaloed. You would have gotten fined for discharging a weapon in city limits.
I know I've been talking about that movie too much, but I really love how much Jason Priestley's character, Billy Breckenridge,
Billy Breckenridge, yeah,
is clearly in love with Billy Zane.
yeah. Now there was
Mr. Fabian.
Now. By the way, there was homosexuality in the Old West. Got news for you.
Turns out it's been around the whole time.
The whole time.
Billy Breckenridge.
He there's no evidence that he was, but there were people of the Old West that were, and that's a story for a different day, gentlemen.
I recently watched a homosexual cowboy movie on the Netflix with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Ah, yes.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Brokeback Mountain, which is a
I
fantastic.
thought you were going to say something from the internet that you found.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's called cowboy gets his remote control stuck between the couch cushions while his brother's home.
Oh my god.
There's layers in there that if you're laughing, you know.
Yeah.
You should probably cut that, Chris.
No.
All right.
The Earps kind of trickled in, too, into Tombstone.
Like the economics?
James came with his family, as well as Morgan. Now, he married a woman in Montana. She actually wasn't with him most of the time in Tombstone. I think even at all. I think. But Morgan came down to Tombstone. James was there. Warren even showed up.
Warren?
Yeah, so...
The whole gang's there?
Pretty much the whole gang.
Where's Newton?
Well, Newton's off doing his own thing. He's much older than these guys. He's off doing his own
Who's the youngest one?
The youngest one is Warren. He was 24, 25 when he shows up in Tombstone.
Wasn't like Wyatt like 30?
Yeah. He's in his 30s. Yeah.
That's the way you did things back then.
Yeah.
You back to
pumped
back
them
out
up.
the kids. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that remote lost
Just like
between the couch
Kurt
cushions
Russell
and you
was
just
30
start a
in that
family.
movie. Oh, God.
God damn it.
Isolate that.
Yeah. What the Earps really liked about Tombstone is that they were looked down upon in Dodge for being on the fringe, on the edge of society. But they weren't that way in Tombstone. They were accepted for who they were in Tombstone. Nobody cared if you ran a saloon and shit like that. Like, they were accepted there. These were their people. These rough around the edges sort of people. You know what I mean? And granted, Tombstone was a divided town, but this was their time and place. You know what I mean? They liked it a lot. Wyatt was planning on opening a stage business at first. When he got to Tombstone and realized they already had 2 stage businesses, he scrapped that idea and
Son
sold
of a
his
bitch.
outfit. Yeah, but the one he did sell later became famous.
Okay.
So yeah, and so then he what he did is he got into mining speculation, water rights, that type of thing, and started dealing faro. 'Cause that's the way to make money.
Right.
Wyatt Earp, capitalist.
Yeah, that's what he listed his job as on the census.
The Pharaoh part's in the movie. The
Oh yeah,
other parts would have been boring.
yeah. Well, there was a mention of it.
Nobody
There may
wants
have been,
nobody
yeah.
wants to watch a movie called like Sim Wyatt Earp. You know what I mean?
I would.
Which, by the way, no, I'd play that game. You're Wyatt Earp. You get into Tombstone, and you have to like sort out your
Navigate
businesses.
water rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is this?
What is this?
Chinatown.
Crusader Kings?
I was gonna be like Star Wars Episode 1. I was like, oh, it's about trade federations. Shit.
Which is so
Embargoes.
stupid. It's like this green lush planet that can't survive without the space supplies. Ridiculous. Anyway,
Fucking bullshit.
dumb as hell. When they got there was sort of this. They called it the Gamblers' War. There was 2 factions of gamblers, and there was the Easterners that were from the east, and the Slopers from the slope of the Rocky Mountains.
Oh.
Right.
I'm disappointed that it wasn't the winners and the losers.
I was just thinking, I was like, Biggie, right?
Yeah.
Easterners.
Yeah.
Tupac,
guess-
You got Snoop,
Westerners.
Tupac, yeah.
Yeah.
But there was
Or-
Slope of the Rocky Mountains, I guess.
Slope of the Rocky Mountains. That's
It's closer to California.
yeah. Well, Californians mainly is what they meant by that.
Oh.
Slopers.
Yeah, so Tupac.
Yeah. Anyway, and they didn't like each other, even though there could be Easterners counted among the Slopers and Slopers counted among the Easterners. They were divided politically. This town was divided nearly any which way you can cut it. The Earps and like these newcomers, they were Republicans. These were all Democrats. They considered them carpetbaggers, interlopers, and there was like a newspaper for one side and a newspaper for the other.
Yeah.
You know.
CNN
Sounds
and
familiar.
Fox News.
Yeah, exactly.
And then people like you criticize their guy, and they're like, "Oh, you learned that from this newspaper." And you're like, "I don't even fucking read that newspaper. I'm just saying what happened."
And they're like,
Yeah.
exactly. If you read my newspaper, you'd know the real news.
Yeah.
The news they're keeping from you on the other side.
Yeah. There was the Nugget, which was on the Democratic sort of Arizona side.
Yeah.
And there was the Epitaph, which was on the sort of Republican Earp side of everything. They were friendly towards the Earps.
The Earps were, yeah. And to clarify, about the Democrats versus the Republicans again.
It had switched in the 60s.
The South. Yeah.
Even Bob Bose-Bell acknowledged the switch, which I was like, thank you.
It's undeniably a fact.
He was like, it switched, dude.
It was adorable when that guy on Twitter criticized us for talking about
so
that.
adorable.
Yeah.
So fun. He doesn't know his history. He needs to listen more to the show. The mayor was actually the editor of the epitaph, and he was also the postmaster as well, which is super interesting. You know,
Conflict.
There wasn't that many people back then, so sometimes you had to wear a lot of hats to get all the
hats
jobs
were
done.
mandatory.
Hats were mandatory,
And they'd wear a lot of them.
Yeah.
So you take
In case
one
one
off,
got knocked off.
Yeah. Or
or
shot.
shot off. Yeah,
Which happened,
shot off with the sawed off.
Yeah, this is just sounding more and more like tour.
You're like, why do you think I have all these hats?
Exactly.
Well, it's like when you go to the grocery store and you have a mask on, but you have another mask in your pocket in case the thing breaks.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
strange.
right.
Yeah.
Or you just forget there's another one in your pocket. You're like, I got another one.
Yeah. I got so many masks at this point.
Sometimes I wear 3 masks because I care about your guys' safety so much.
Aww.
Now, there was a fella that was a sloper.
Ugh.
And the slopers, they hung out mainly at the Alhambra Saloon. And the Easterners hung out at the Oriental Saloon. Right?
Better food.
And there was a guy named either... I heard it both ways, but his name was either Johnny Tyler or Johnny Tiley.
I hope it's Johnny Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Johnny Tyler.
Cool.
Anyway, he was a gambler.
Ah, cool.
And pretty much the second Doc got there, he got in a fight with this guy. Like, in a drunken argument. And, like, he's like... I love this so much. He, like, asked the bartender for his gun back. And the bartender's like, no! So he leaves and he shows up with a gun, you know?
Yeah.
Drunk as fuck, you know?
I feel like
It's a running feud with them, though.
No,
This
they-
whole thing.
I feel like Doc must have a lot of running feuds with a lot of random people.
Yeah. He's an asshole.
Doc
He's a
Holliday
total
is
asshole.
one of those historical characters that I feel like when I hear stories about, I'm like, I am so interested in this guy. I want to hear more about this guy. But the idea of being around them in actual reality sounds...
Well, there's a great
like,
line in the movie that actually, in Tombstone the movie, if you fans at home, what movie could we be fucking talking about? Virgil says something about like, "Oh, I hate that guy, Doc." And he's like, "Why do you hang out with him or whatever?" I don't remember. And he goes, "Why?" He makes me laugh.
Yeah.
And I was like, "That is so a thing."
It is a thing. It's a real thing.
I've had people be like, "Why are you bringing this guy?" Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah.
And that was me. Or Tyler. We're all that guy. All four of us are that guy.
Yeah.
We're all Doc Holliday.
Zach's like, speak for yourself.
No,
Everybody fucking loves me.
It's true. No, I mean, fucking...
That's actually kind of true.
Jerry absolutely hated me when he first met me. But that's a
Jerry
story
hates
for a different
everyone.
day.
Yeah, I hate everyone when I first meet them.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
Jerry liked me immediately.
I think that's
Right?
actually true.
I
think maybe-
unfriended you on Facebook.
Yeah.
I've never met a person more unlike myself that I've had a faster friendship
That's a
with.
great point, actually.
Yeah. That's okay.
So, heartfelt moment right here on the show, guys. Realizing some
I've had
shit.
a few minute rolling rocks.
He's getting into the I love you man stage.
It's rare.
Yeah.
All
call
right,
it
do I need to bust out the camera so we can start up the OnlyFans or what?
You mean the lonely fans?
The Lonely Fans, exactly.
There's an election that sort of... It's in the middle of all of this, but it's kind of the beginning seeds of resentment between the Earps and this other faction that's more... I won't say loyal to the Cowboys, but more comfortable with the Cowboys, right? And that's like Johnny Bean and Billy Breckenridge and those people.
Yeah, and they don't like these Earps coming in and bringing up their like northeast ideas and
When they're like, oh, Dodge City, huh? These fellas from Dodge City are coming in.
in here taking
Making
our
us
guns.
maybe kind of like obey some of the guidelines that are in place.
Yeah. So there was an election between Charlie Scheibel and Bob Paul.
Okay.
It was for a law position, right?
I got my money on Scheibel.
Well, the Cowboys were on the Scheibel side, and Bob Paul was on the Earp side. And the thing is, now, some people say it's not true, some people say it is true, who knows. But the Cowboys basically stuffed the ballot box and rigged the election for Scheibel. And Bob Paul, looking at the election results and how people voted, it's not adding up, right? So, he contests the election, right? So, Scheibel and Bob Paul are sort of out of the running, right? He goes back to his work as a stage driver, Wells Fargo driver, right? And that's how Wyatt met him, because Wyatt has to take up work, again, as riding shotgun for Wells Fargo, right? And he's like, God damn it! I was trying to get away from this type of shit.
I'm trying to get away from this fun-ass job.
I have too many bank accounts now.
Yeah. So while this is happening, though, they gotta pick, a sheriff for now, And they're like, okay, well, what do we do? They're looking a lot of places, They're like, well, we got Virgil, so that's good. And Wyatt's like, well, maybe I'll throw my hat in the ring, I don't know exactly what position they were vying for between Scheibel and Bob Paul. Wyatt wanted to be sheriff. Johnny Behan wanted to be sheriff. Johnny Behan told Wyatt, hey, dude, if you let me be sheriff, I'll make you my undersheriff. Just like you were for Bat,
Solid politics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like you were for Bat. And so Wyatt's like, okay. And when Johnny Behan gets the job, he leaves Wyatt out of the conversation.
Bad move.
Shit.
That's a bad move.
Get
So
things
there's
in writing.
there's some animosity.
Then
Right.
then also the paper trail for your fucking
Right.
shady
Handshake
backdoor deeds.
agreements were the order of the day at this point
That's
in
the
time.
thing about
And
the handshake
And
agreements.
while all this election stuff is going on, Bob Paul's driving the stagecoach, and there's people on it, there's passengers and stuff, and they get robbed, and by masked assailants, right? And 2 people, innocent people, not carrying guns or anything, are killed. And that really pisses people off, because usually when people are killed in a gunfight or something, it's mutual combat, right? They were both kind of the problem. But when innocent people are killed, the normal people of Tombstone got pissed off. They got really mad, and they wanted answers.
this is the reason why I had a kid. Because, so when I get robbed, when I say, please, please don't kill me, I have a family, I'm not lying anymore. I'm being honest, and they can see the pathetic fear in my eyes.
You have lied to so many criminals
over the
and
years.
I can see that it eats you up. You don't want to lie
Every
to them.
single time, I get my ass kicked. And I'm hoping that this mitigates the ass kicking just a little
But
bit.
ultimately,
And I need to really stop flashing wads of 100s in public. And also saying really loudly, I hope no dickheads try to rob me on 3rd and Pike.
it's like, because I'm going to buy a bunch of McDonald's.
Yeah. I'm going into the McDonald's and I got money to burn.
Is that 2nd and Pike?
No, that's Third and Pike.
Third and
Third
Third and
Pike.
Pike? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Because
is.
I used to work at the Starbucks on Third and
The
it was
Westlake
Third-
one?
It was Third and Pine, where the McDonald's is at. I worked on Third and Pike, and that's where the Starbucks was
Yeah.
at.
The old, is it Pike or Pine game?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was great because we had all the
It's like just a few blocks.
we had all the drug dealers hang out over there, and they kept order in that fucking place. It was awesome.
Sounds like this story.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
That Third and Pine area is basically Tombstone.
You're not wrong. Holy shit.
There was a lot of talk about who committed this stage robbery, because people wanted answers, And when they kind of figured out who did it, it was a guy named Billy Leonard, and a fella named Crane, and another guy named...
Crane.
His last name was Crane. And I got another guy named Harry Head.
Was he a brain in a robot suit?
That's Crane.
Crane.
I know,
Yeah.
but it was close. Come on.
I imagine Dr. Fraser Crane.
Yeah. I actually had a hard time not calling him Niles Crane. But the other guy was Harry Head. Huh?
Hey.
Harry Head?
It's weird
No.
because that's the part of the
Nothing?
penis that's the
I
least likely to be hairy.
I was about to say something, but then you kept on fucking going at it.
Well, he kept going at it.
You know what?
I like a
Like,
hairy head.
What was there was a character when you were naming off the lists of cowboys or whatever, and one of them was like Bullshit Johnson or something, and you're like, nothing on that one? I was like, yeah, it's just, it's on the nose, it's too much, it's too obvious.
Okay, so...
Hairy head. How's your head? Hairy.
Now, the thing about Billy Leonard is that he was a gambler, and he was consumptive. He had tuberculosis, just like Doc.
I honestly think it'd be... You'd save time by saying the number of people who weren't gamblers and having
Right.
And the thing is because they were because Doc and Billy Leonard were both consumptives, they were friends. They knew each other.
Okay.
And a lot of people in Tombstone thought that Doc had something to do with it. And because Doc was connected with the Earps, that the Earps had something to do with it. If not directly, then indirectly.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay?
Makes sense. It's
I
a
can
bit
see
of a,
why.
Now, it may not
Epstein
be...
situation with the Clintons.
Right. It may not be. It may not be true. But the thing is that like Doc kind of has a loose alibi. It's honestly there's no evidence that he took part in it, but there is some pretty good evidence that he knew about it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like they may have had a conversation about it, and because the Earps were so in with the Wells Fargo stages. Maybe they knew the comings and goings, but it doesn't make a lot of sense because Bob Paul was their friend, and he was on that stage when it was robbed, so it doesn't make a ton of sense. Now, Bob Paul wasn't killed. Some people in the rumor mill of Tombstone would say, yeah, that was their plan the whole time.
It's all about misdirection.
It's like Tombstone 9/11.
Dude, it's like
how much did Bush let happen to predicate a war, and how much did he not know about? And it just kind of happened.
Feels like a Nolan Batman movie to me, where they're like robbing somebody,
and
you don't know
every
who they're
misdirection.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy and Tom Hardy are there. Fucking, it's like narration over all the different ways it could happen, and you're like,
you're moving backwards, and you have to have like conversation.
I paid $25 to see this.
Yeah. So the rumor mill in Tombstone was really going with, are the Earps involved? Are they not? You know, is Doc involved? Are they not? You know, and Doc, he goes in and out of Tombstone. He goes to Tucson. He hears of like these high stakes poker games and tries to go get them. Like he tried to go to Tucson one time for a high stakes poker game. It was over before he got there, so he just went back.
I would
to Tombstone.
imagine it's not like you can fucking take a flight out
He's
there.
riding a horse, you know.
You're like, oh, it's at 8 o'clock tonight, and I am about 300 miles away.
Yeah. I woke up at noon.
I am addicted to gambling, so I will go and see if I can make it.
Now I'm gonna gamble that traffic time.
There you go. So sometimes he's not around to defend himself, you know. But like it gets into people's heads, especially on that faction, that anti-Earp faction, that they're into some loosey-goosey fucking shady shit, you know. And some people, like later on, like the Clantons and the McClowrys, would straight up call them stage robbers. Ooh. You know what I mean? I sincerely doubt they were stage robbers. But they, on that side, they would say that. You know what I mean?
And being a stage robber is worse than being a cattle rustler by magnitudes.
Well, because two people are dead.
Yeah.
People don't die when you're rustling cattle, usually. You know.
Unless something goes wrong.
Right,
okay,
unless the Mexican federales kill you.
It's like the past day equivalent of a victimless crime.
Right. Well,
except
it's
the people
not,
you stole the cattle from.
Right, it's not victimless, but no one's dead.
They'll get new cows.
No one's dead. Yeah.
Insurance companies will pay off those cows, and they're the real enemy.
Yeah. Do you have cow insurance?
Yeah.
Bastards.
Well, so basically the way it pans out, like, you know, Virgil's still like a marshal, but Johnny Behan's the sheriff, and so you have basically two factions of lawmen that don't like each other, like right off the bat, right? And so, and every once in a while, Virgil would deputize his brothers, you know, so like Wyatt, except for Jim. Jim was older. He was running his own saloon. He was actually running a bowling alley in Tombstone and saloon.
Imagine he's a bit of a dude style character.
Yeah. Jim was never deputized, but Wyatt and Warren and Morgan were definitely deputized by Virgil. And they'd go out and they'd look for, you know, stolen horses, usually leading them to either the Clantons or the McClowrys. One time, because stolen horse, one time it was Wyatt's horse, and that's why they were looking. The other time, it was because there were government mules, which made it Virgil's problem, because he's a U.S. federal marshal.
Government mules.
Government mules.
It was
yeah.
the government cheese of the day.
Well, from the army. It was stolen from the army.
Yeah.
Government Mule, wasn't that a band?
That was a
while?
band.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
right.
indeed. The thing is it would usually lead them over there, and most of the time they would have nothing to show for, fucking with the McClorys or with the Clantons, you know. And
The trail had gone cold.
Yeah, and one time they had to walk back 18 miles back to Tombstone because they'd been riding around too much and their horses were too tired.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Just call a Lyft. An Uber?
With Wyatt and all the Earp brothers being deputized by Virgil, and Virgil being so incorruptible and wanting people to obey the law, there were certain instances where they saved certain people from a lynch mob.
Okay.
Where, the guy was clearly in the wrong, but they were like, no, he's going to see his day in court, and he'll go to jail. You know what I mean? And one such case was a fellow by the name of Johnny Behind the Deuce. Yeah, he shot him.
name.
He shot a man in the face, and there was a lynch mob chasing him and his driver, and they ran into Virgil, and they took him back to Tombstone and guarded him from a lynch mob. And it just kind of goes to show how much they believed in sort of law and order, right? Mm-hmm. That's just sort of indicative of their character, right? After the Earps would end up at places like the Clantons or the McClorys, there was one instance where Frank McClory came up to Virgil on the street of Tombstone, and he said, hey, you ever come after us again? I'm gonna fucking kill you, dude. Mm-hmm. We're not doing anything wrong. Fuck you, dude. You come after me again, I swear to God. And Virgil was like, if I have a warrant for your arrest, I'm coming after you, dude. Believe it, man. And so, now there's animosity there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that was
Blood in
their
the
first.
water.
Yeah, that was their first run-in with these government mules and stuff with the McClorys. Virgil actually lost the election to become a marshal again, and he was replaced by a guy named Ben Sippy, who later disappeared, and no one knew where he went.
He went off to go invent a cup that is meant for children to drink out of. He invented the sippy cup.
I got it.
Yep.
The sippy cup.
Yeah.
I believe that.
He invented sipping. It was all chugging before that.
And once Ben Sippy was like, fuck this, there's no winning solution to this, Virgil was reinstated. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah?
It's I'm not built for this.
Yeah.
We need someone who's going to chug justice, not someone who's going to sip it.
But the thing is Kate Elder was back in town, trying to mend shit with Doc, and she would come and go, and her and Doc fought a lot, and she got super drunk one night and started accusing Doc of that stage robbery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bad move.
Yeah, and even signed a testimony and stuff that is lost to history. We don't actually know what she said, but she implicated Doc in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Virgil even
Was
told
she
Doc.
drunk while she signed the testament?
I think so.
So you can just do that?
You could just
fuck
do
this
that.
guy.
Jeez.
I promise
Sam,
I haven't been
fact.
drinking laudanum all night.
Yeah. They basically put her on a train and were like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Because we don't need this right now. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's the closest thing to being run out on a rail that we've actually encountered on the
Yes,
show.
yes,
Yep.
you're right, because she
Yeah.
sort of was, right?
Yeah. It's a
High speed rail at the time.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Wyatt wanted to catch the guys that committed this stage robbery because he wanted to look good for that, because he was still eyeing that sheriff's position, right? And he wanted to look good in front of everyone. So he wanted to catch these guys real bad. And he saw Ike Clanton, and he went to him, and he had a proposition. And he goes, you gotta tell me you're not gonna tell anyone before I tell you what it is. Which is always super sticky, right?
We're like, hell no.
Yeah.
It's like promise not to get mad.
But then
Yeah.
you don't get to hear it, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So he said, listen, you help us catch these cowboys, because I know they're cowboys, and I know you know who they are. Help me catch them. We won't tell anyone. I'll give you all the reward money, but I get the glory. right? I get to be the hero, but you get the money under the table. No one has to know.
He probably doesn't want the glory. Ike.
Yeah, Ike doesn't need glory.
Right.
Well, I mean,
He wants the money.
It's like the one who sold out all the other cowboys.
Yeah. So
It's not glory he needs.
yeah, so Ike is like, reward money, because it's a pretty penny back in the day, and he says, yeah, okay, but what happens is all those guys were killed in a shootout, and their plan sort of failed.
Oof.
But
All
what
those
it
guys are already dead.
yes, but what it did is it left them both with a terrible secret. On one side, Ike looks like he's betraying his cowboy brothers. And on the other, Wyatt's double dealing with cowboys. You know what I mean?
No winners.
There's no winners. And the thing is they're left with this between them. And Ike gets more and more paranoid as time goes that Wyatt's telling other people about this whole deal. You know what I mean?
That gets the old murder wheels turning in your head.
Oh yeah. And the thing is like Wyatt's trying to like keep his own business together. You know what I mean? He's spending more time at the Oriental working as a faro dealer, paying less attention to Maddie, and he's part owner of the Oriental at this time, and he has rival. The Alhambra. He has rival saloons trying to run him out of business by like hiring yahoos to come down and shoot up the places, or raise a ruckus down there. And he needs help. Who do you think Wyatt calls for some muscle?
Doc and Bat?
Bat Masterson.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So he sends a wire over to Dodge, and Bat's there, fresh off of the whole Billy Thompson thing
From last episode.
He comes on down, and he meets Wyatt and Tombstone. And yeah, he's like a bouncer for them. There's another guy that shows up as well. A fellow by the name of Luke Short shows up to be a bouncer for them.
Tall man, 6'2".
He's the hat shooting guy from.
Yeah, the hat shooting guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't shoot hats. His hat got shot.
Yeah.
Right.
And it didn't get shot off.
He's got a tall hat, small head.
Big old chaps.
It was the opposite
Big old
of a
chaps.
cone head. It was like just flat.
He's using his apparel to create a silhouette that is impossible by actual physical standards.
Yes.
He just is a centaur.
Yeah.
Whoever was in the back half of the horse costume, he switched him out enough so they didn't have to get...
But no matter what, it had a 4-inch hole drilled into the butt. And that was for specific conventions that they went to.
Well, before Bat arrives, the cowboys come into town. They're raising hell as usual. Among them is Curly Bill Brocious. He goes on a bender, and him and his buddies start shooting guns outside. They all hear the gunshots, Wyatt's a little closer than the rest of his brothers, but Fred White, who's in charge, he was inexperienced lawman. He's in his early 30s.
Super young man.
Yeah.
Fresh,
And-
very green.
Yeah.
Greenhorn, if you will.
Yeah.
Not an old man at all.
Not an old man. He goes and gets Curly Bill first. Wyatt's right behind him. He actually borrows a gun from the bartender and runs down.
Jeez.
What is his position? Because
Wyatt, he's actually not...
No, Fred White.
Okay, so I'm kind of telling this out of sequence here. Just to make sure you understand the characters. At this point, Johnny Bean doesn't have any power yet. That thing with the sheriff happens after the death of Fred White, what I'm getting to right here. So, basically, Curly Bill has his gun out. Fred White comes up to him. They're sort of in a doorway, right? In an entryway of this place. And he comes up, he's approaching him face on, and he goes, Curly Bill, I need you to give me your gun, And he gets closer, and as he's getting closer, just as he's grabbing the gun, Wyatt runs up behind him and puts his arms around Curly Bill. It's like, you goddamn cowboy son of a bitch. And the gun goes off. Right in Fred White's groin.
Oh,
Shit.
And,
shoots his dick clean off.
Yeah, and some people, some people have portrayed this I think it's almost partly Wyatt's fault that he did that.
Partly?
Yeah. But some people have said that Curly Bill pulled they even named it after Curly Bill. But it's where you take your gun, you have it out, the handle out, and then you flip it back and you shoot him.
Yeah.
Right? So he did
upside down guns.
And he flipped it and shot him, right? But it probably had more to do with the fact that Fred White grabbed the gun, and then Wyatt grabbed Curly Bill.
Seems like there's too much going on to, like, really be able to, like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to flip this gun right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull the trigger. I'm going to kill this guy because this guy is grabbing me. Like, it's all, like, an instant.
Yeah.
It just, the gun goes off. That's what I imagine.
Well, and when people say that, like, he flipped the gun or whatever, what that does is exonerate Wyatt from having anything to do with it, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But the point is that it goes off. It does the same thing to Ed Masterson. It sets his clothes on fire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he dies hours later, Fred White does. But even on his deathbed, Fred White says, it was an accident. He didn't mean to shoot me. Fred White's sort of impartial in this story. A lot of people think of him that way, at least. But, like, Wyatt goes and testifies even, like, what happened and whatnot. And he goes, did you see him twist the gun around? He's like, no. And he goes, okay, then it's an accident. That's what the judge said.
Right.
In the movie Tombstone, he goes, did you see him actually shoot him?
Yeah.
No, then there's no witnesses, no murder. And it's like, how does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, in the movie, to their defense, they're like, I can't believe that's what happened. The guy clearly shot him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also, Wyatt doesn't show up till, like...
Yeah, after he's dead.
In the movie, like, he shoots a very old man in the street.
Yeah.
Clearly on purpose.
Yeah.
And then Wyatt shows up.
Yeah. Fred White was not an old man. He was our
That's
age.
why we're making the jokes. Listeners at home have not seen Tombstone.
He was a man in his 30s.
Yeah.
Early 30s.
Early 30s.
Younger than Chris and I.
Yeah, same age as Emma Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you need...
I googled celebrities who were 31, and it's like Emma Watson, Ed Sheeran,
Yeah.
Emma... What's the other? Roberts?
Yeah.
Emma Robert. Yeah.
Jerry Nash, Zach Meck.
I'm 32.
Oh, wait. Oops.
Oh, you're an old man compared to Fred White.
I'm an old man.
Oceans of time.
But there was actually a lynch mob that wanted to hang Curly Bill right then and there. And
Probably would have helped.
Yeah, and the Earps protected him.
Mm-hmm.
And actually took him to where he needed to be tried. They guarded him. As
Like,
they
he's
took
going to
him.
stand trial.
Yeah.
Right.
And along the way, like, Curly Bill's like, y'all know what lawyer I should get? They had some recommendations, and he goes, well, I can't have that guy because he tried to prosecute me earlier.
And I can't have
Conflict
that.
interest.
Yeah.
Can't have that other small town lawyer. That's just a bullfrog in a top hat.
Damn country lawyer.
He's already screwed me. He screwed me in numerous... I've given him multiple chances.
His retainer is very expensive.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's not worth the price.
Yeah. So, Curly Bill is acquitted. He's acquitted. Because he's released from jail, he goes on this historic bender with his friends. And his friends being John Ringo and Pony Deal.
Pony Deal?
Pony Deal? Yep.
Yeah.
They go
Sounds
on
like a shitty side rapper from the 90s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Featuring
Pony Deal.
Feet dot pony deal in the music video Chiron or whatever
Yeah,
you
he
call
comes
it.
sliding in like during the
Kramer?
yeah. I'm sliding in like Cisco.
rap
Oh, like
Kramer.
Cisco. That's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
How's the racism?
Wearing chaps and a vest that are undetectable by most forms of radar and satellite
Yeah.
because of their reflective qualities.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, they go. They fuck with a priest. They chase a priest out of his congregation with guns. They go to a wedding party and make everyone strip and dance nude.
Is that
He
kind of
thought
what
it was
the
funny.
opening scene is kind of referencing?
Yeah, it's evocative of that. Mm-hmm. And there's some other guys with him, Sherman McMaster, some of these other sort of hard cases. But we don't know why. Some of them turned from being cowboys into being friends of the Earps. We don't really know why they did this, but they turned over a new leaf. And they were like, we don't want to be a part of these guys anymore.
They took it too far.
That literally happens in the movie.
Yeah.
They took
It's Yondu.
Well,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker.
Who plays Sherman McMaster, I believe.
He does. And in the first scene when they're like shooting up that wedding or whatever, and then they eat all their food, you just see it'll cut to Michael Rooker just looking disappointed in them.
Yeah.
Well,
I like how
later.
Well, I like how
he's like, oh,
I like how in the movie that's not a bridge too far for him. It's when they like shot into like their like the Earp women like lodging. That's what
I imagine,
which did not happen in real life. But like they're like, I heard they tried to kill your women. That was wrong. And it's like, but killing a whole wedding party and raping a bride in front of everybody was not a bridge too far for you.
Hey, what I'm saying is clearly they cut to him looking disapprovingly.
Yeah.
So he was like, maybe they got 2 or 3 more straws before I fucking
Yeah.
it was Michael Rooker's perpetually 75-year-old face. Even back, whether it's now or then, he's been an old man the whole time.
Yeah. Did I mention how Curly Bill was deputized by the Bean administration?
No.
Did I? Okay, well, Billy Breckenridge went over to the Clanton Ranch, found Curly Bill over there. Actually, it wasn't the Clanton Ranch. It was in San Simon, which is where the cowboys hung out. Anyway, he went and found him there because they needed to collect taxes. This was part of their job. And he needed somebody to help collect taxes in that area, which, because the cowboy presence, has never had taxes collected ever.
Cowboys don't pay taxes?
Yeah. So
Elon Musk.
Yeah, so Billy Breckenridge gets over there and he goes, hey, I need muscle, I need help to make these people of this area pay taxes. I need your help. And Curly Bill laughs the fact that he would ask him to be deputized. Like, even Curly Bill knows these.
He's like, these cowboys are job creators. Why should they have to pay taxes?
Well, Curly Bill laughs, and even Curly Bill, check this out. Curly Bill says, don't worry, Billy. We'll make every single one of those goddamn cowboys pay their taxes. And he did. He helped them collect taxes. Well, they, like, went into, like, these secret, like, hidden areas. And he goes, boys, we're here to collect taxes. And if you want to live in this society, well, then we gotta pay our taxes.
There you go.
So there you go.
I'm considering they were making profit off of, stolen goods.
Well, they probably skimmed off the top. A lot of them did it.
That's all I'm saying. Is it's like they're like already like making profit off of nothing.
Hey, you either get no taxes or you're getting some taxes with little skimmed off the top. That's some Old West law right there.
Yeah. And the thing is Billy Breckenridge even said about Curly Bill, he goes, that guy was an amazing shot. Like, as we were riding through the countryside, he'd, like, see rabbits and shit, like, far off. And with a pistol, like, with his 6-gun, he could hit them.
Deadeye.
Yeah, and it's like, that dude was a really fucking good shot.
That guy is terrifying.
Yeah, he's like...
Don't get on his bad side.
Well, exactly. He was like, I'm glad he's on my side.
When I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and, like, I have my Deadeye maxed out, I just, like, freeze time and just kill everyone one shot each.
Yeah.
I'm just like... People must be like, well, that guy was a good shot. What the fuck?
Yeah, he shot everyone in the forehead.
Like, it's like if at the OK Corral, Doc Holliday just shot everyone on the other side in 1 second.
Yeah.
Just boom, 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 done.
Yeah. Before anyone could pull out their guns or anything. Yeah. But when Bat got to Tombstone, shit kind of settled down for a little bit, except that there was another friend of Bat's. He was as close with Luke Short as he was with this guy. This guy's name was Charlie Storms.
Oh.
He was a gambler.
Yeah.
As most of them were.
No shit, yeah.
Yeah.
An adulterer.
Yeah.
Weird.
He was
drunk.
Yeah, yep.
Sometimes a sheriff.
Like all of these people.
Yeah.
Like all of these people, like,
and
they were
definitely
later a
had tuberculosis.
Well, Luke Short and Charlie Storms got in an argument. And these are both Bat's friends. Good friends.
Those are porn names.
Yeah, right?
I don't know about Luke Short.
No.
That guy probably... He's the biggest in the business, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about his stardom. You know what I'm saying?
It's an ironic name.
Either that or they only use him for anal scenes.
Yeah.
Jeez.
There you go.
The ladies appreciate the courtesy.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. At this time, like Bat had been bouncing around Colorado. He was really liking Colorado, like staying on Leadville. Guess why it was called Leadville?
Because there was lead in them hills?
Yes, there was.
Gives you cancer.
Yeah.
Stay away from those Jets, kids.
But yeah, when this fight broke out between Luke Short and Charlie Storms, like Bat broke up the fight because Bat was great at that, at talking people out. Because people, and if it got too nuts, Bat had the muscle to buffalo him. But everyone liked Bat. He was universally loved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did Doc Holliday like him?
No.
I don't know. Nobody liked Doc Holliday, really,
No, I'm
except for
thinking
Wyatt.
Doc Holliday liked Bat.
I don't know.
He's like, if we weren't friends, I don't know if I could bear it.
Yeah. Well, that was the guy that Doc knifed, if you remember, from our previous episode.
With his knife, the queen bitch or whatever.
The hell bitch.
Yeah, the hell bitch.
Yeah, that's fucking
It's
cool.
a big Bowie knife that was actually fashioned out of a meat cleaver.
Sweet.
Anyway, weird shit that I run across. So, Bat's able to, like, make Charlie Storms go away. He's like, dude, go sleep it off. And this is in the morning, mind you. This is in the morning when they're drunk and having this fight. This shows you how much they drank.
They've been out all night.
Yeah.
Well,
That feeling.
I don't know. But Charlie Storms comes back.
Did they get up at 6 a.m. and start drinking at 9 like they're going to catch a flight?
Pretty much. I mean, I guess so.
They didn't have airports back then.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just had to do it.
Just did it. There's nothing else to do.
Just get up early and get fucked up.
Yeah, start playing cards. Well, Charlie Storm came back with a gun and found Luke Short. Bat was too far away. He almost like saw it in slow motion. No. Yeah, but Charlie Storm said to Luke Short, he's like, "Are you as tough as you were this morning?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm 10 times a man as you." And Luke Short pulled his gun faster and blew him away, like right on the street.
Cool. Yeah.
And, well, the thing is, like, Bat lost one of his friends. Like, both of them were his friends.
Right.
And,
Oh,
like,
it'd be like if you two shot each other.
yeah.
You're like, well, fuck.
I don't know what to do. Yeah.
We're like, I'd still release that episode. It'd be a great fucking podcast.
yeah.
Well, Bat actually testified at the trial, and he was like, yeah, I knew them both really well. I will say that, Charlie Storms did approach Luke Short with a gun, so this was definitely self-defense. Luke Short got off, and he left Tombstone.
Well, there you go.
That's how it went.
I just want to think that there will be an episode someday where, like, Jerry shoots Tyler or vice versa, and you'll go to jail, and that's just me and Zach doing the podcast. Like,
There will come a day.
like, so it's just us now. If you listen to the last one, you understand why.
Yeah. Tyler, high noon.
Man. Oh, no.
This is why we don't record at noon.
Yeah.
Because we would shoot each other.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the only thing stopping us from shooting each other is the time of day that we record the podcast. That's a fact.
It is. I'm too
'Cause-
tired.
Yeah.
I don't have the energy.
might as well
too
call
late
it
in
the
the day.
Pack and Heat podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bat was sort of glad that both of his friends weren't dead, but
Silver lining.
yeah. But like Luke Short even told Bat, he's like, "Man, you got some fucking friends, dude. Jesus Christ, you really pick them, man." But the thing is like everyone got along with Bat.
Yeah, he's like, I like everybody.
If you
except
didn't
that fucking Doc Holliday.
Yeah, but if you didn't fuck with Bat, then you were cool, So, and that's kind of how we saw life. You don't fuck with me, I don't fuck with you. We could be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I relate to that.
Yeah. Bat got an urgent telegram from Dodge, from his brother Jim. Yeah. Or I don't know if it was actually from his brother Jim or from somebody else, but his brother Jim was in trouble.
He's in a jam.
Yeah.
He's in a jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim was part owner of the Long Branch Saloon by now with AJ Peacock. Yeah. Now, AJ Peacock hired his son-in-law to be a bartender. And he mouthed off at Jim.
JJ Peacock.
AJ Peacock.
But I'm saying his son's name is J because his
Son-in-law.
No, it's
okay.
son-in-law.
He took the wife's name. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but
In the Wild West,
that would have been.
it would not have happened.
You either get to be Peacock or Crapmaster.
Jim was not about to be talked to like that from a bartender.
Yeah.
He was like, fuck
Of
you,
all
dude.
people.
But AJ Peacock was like, fucking kill you. Like, this is a family issue now. So he sent up, they sent off a telegram like, hey, Bat, dude, your brother's in trouble. Get here as fast as you can. And he did,
Did AJ Peacock send off a peacock?
Carrier
Why
peacock.
would he
Carrier
send for Bat?
I don't know.
He sent for somebody else that never got there because it's a fucking peacock, not a pigeon.
It's a peacock. It didn't work.
They're like, peacocks don't deliver messages the way pigeons do.
They're actually very slow.
They're really slow. And he's like, I have a reputation to uphold. I gotta do everything with peacocks, okay?
It's like my thing.
I gotta do whatever the peacock
Yeah.
says.
He's dressed like
He's a regular son of Sam.
I haven't seen talking to this peacock.
anything on Netflix. I haven't seen anything on Hulu. I only watch stuff on Peacock, dude. I'm trying to fucking maintain.
he loves it. AP Bio.
Yeah, he loves
Yeah.
AP Bio. Watches
And
every
nothing
episode.
else. Yeah. And the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, the Winter Olympics.
I don't know what's on AP Bio.
Reruns of
I like Always Sunny,
Friends.
so I know AP Bio's there.
Friends, I guess, maybe.
The Office.
The Office. Anyway, so Bat rides like hell.
Mm-hmm.
He finishes the rest of it on a train, and he's like, "Man, I hope I get there, before it's too late." And straight out of a movie, guys, straight out of Once Upon a Time in the West, he gets off the train pulls away, and Bat is there, and there's AJ Peacock and his son-in-law with guns.
Ooh.
And they're like, "We want to talk to you." And he's like, "Okay, calm down, guys." And he's like starting to approach them, and they just run for cover and start shooting. So Bat dives for cover.
Yeah.
And like over the course of like a few minutes, Bat empties both of his pearl-handle guns at these guys. The new sheriff comes up with a shotgun. Bat has empty guns, and he goes, "I'm taking you in." And Bat even has a moment where he's like, "Do I fight my way out?"
Right.
But he's like, I'm not gonna fucking survive this.
Yeah.
So they take Jim Masterson and Bat Masterson, and they go, "Here's the train, east or west, but you're getting out of Dodge."
Getting the fuck out
That's
of
where
Dodge.
it comes
Yeah.
from.
And they forced them, And so they left, but they wouldn't stay gone. We're gonna leave Bat sort of there for now, and go back to Wyatt. Now Wyatt doesn't have any more help as good as Bat anymore, which is too bad for what's about to happen.
To Bat.
Nice.
Now, as I said before, Ike Clanton is becoming more and more paranoid. He's starting to say things like, "Hey Wyatt, you're telling people about our deal." And he's like, "No, I didn't. I did not." And he goes, "Yeah, well, Doc Holliday told me about it. He said himself. He told me about it." And he's like, "Well, Doc is out of town right now. When he comes back, I'll convince both of you. I'll convince you."
Right.
I didn't tell anyone, And he's still just like, "I don't know, man." And like, "Well, you told this guy. He told me." And he's like, I did not do that.
That is a hat rack.
Yeah.
That guy told me.
That guy told me. The
Oh,
one
he
with the
was in
hats.
damn mind.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of hats.
Yeah. The guy in the
was
big
the style
jacket
at
and the
the
hat.
time.
Yeah.
Stack them.
So on October 25th, 1881, that day, Ike Clanton and Tom McClory rode in to Tombstone. And they were taking care of business, right?
TCB.
And they were also there to hang out, like normal, right? And what happened is in the middle of the day, Ike's hanging out in this place, and Morgan's there, Wyatt's there, they're eating lunch, they're kind of minding their own business, and Ike is there, and while he's there, they're kind of just staying away from each other, but Doc Holliday comes in, and he starts ranting at Ike. He's like, "You keep my fucking name out of your mouth, dude.
Yeah.
Stop accusing me of crimes. What the fuck is wrong with you? One day, man, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna blow you away, dude."
Yeah.
And he goes, "I'm unarmed right now." And he goes, "Heal yourself," which means arm yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
He goes, "Get healed and fucking
Heal
come back here."
yourself.
Yeah, come back here, and we'll fight, dude.
Skin that smoke wagon.
See what happens. Yeah. Nowhere did I see that line happen, but it's a great
That's
line.
a great.
It's a great
I'm like,
line.
all those are weird words, but I know
Yeah.
what he's saying.
Yeah.
Smoke wagon.
And by the way, for weird words that happen in that movie, everyone knows what a lunger is, right?
Somebody with tuberculosis.
Yes. I say so because I've heard people say, use lunger, I think, from that movie in different contexts, and it's like, are you calling them a consumptive? Like,
Yeah.
Are you using a pejorative term for one who has tuberculosis? I don't think they meant it that way, but that's what it means.
Yeah, I always thought it was a reference to Dolph Lundgren, but that's just me.
You're nothing but a big old muscly Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a Lunger. I really like Showdown in Little Tokyo, Rocky 4, Expendables 1, given the
Universal
time of year.
Soldier.
Yeah, Universal Soldier 2. More universal than the first, I believe is the subtitle.
The Universaling.
But as this is happening, and Ika's
Miramax.
And Ika's like, I'm not armed or anything, whatever. Like, as this is all happening, like, he looks over at Wyatt, who has his hand on his coat, as if he's reaching for a gun, and Morgan, who has his feet up, and also looks like he's reaching for his gun. And he's like, you fucking motherfuckers. Like, I haven't done anything to you. What the hell? You're gonna shoot me right now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the hell? Dude, I haven't done anything
shit.
to you,
Right.
As he's like, the fight spills out onto the street, know, and Virgil comes by, and he's like, no fighting, and,
Shoo.
Yeah.
He's quoting Shakira.
Yeah.
No fighting.
My wife loves Shakira, and I have no idea what that reference is.
Hips don't lie. It's the very end of Hips Don't Lie. Come on now.
Get with the kids.
I don't like it.
Get with the kids from
The kids
15
that love
years ago.
Shakira.
The kids, Shakira. When's her new album out?
No
New
idea.
album? I don't
She's
fucking
dead.
know.
She's dead. She died in a horrible plane crash.
Shakira?
Yeah.
I think you're thinking of Aaliyah.
Aaliyah. Yes. You're
I thought you were being
right.
serious.
No, he's Aaliyah.
Jerry's like, we're done talking about
You're like,
Shakira.
no, that happened
She's dead.
today.
You can... No.
Shakira died today.
So I was thinking of Aaliyah.
Her private jet flew over Ukraine airspace.
Yeah.
Oopsie daisy, she's gone.
That shows how I'm with the kids. How in depth I am with the kids, even from 20 years ago now.
When Shakira was in
Queen of the Damned.
Queen of the Damned. Yeah, Queen of the Damned. Thank you, Zach. Thank you.
Shakira.
That's over. That's 20 years ago. That was a long time ago.
Wherever came out when I was in high school.
Yeah. Virgil straight up said, "I'll arrest every single one of you, including my own brothers, if you don't knock it off."
Bang, bang.
I'll arrest every motherfucking last one of you.
Yeah.
And everyone went their separate ways, and they kind of grumbled, but, So Wyatt went over to the Golden Eagle Brewery. He checked out his Faro game. He closed his Faro game over
Place
there.
sounds cool.
Yeah. But when he came out, Ike was there. Wyatt kind of, brushed him off, But Ike kept saying, some fighting words. Like,
let's fight.
Let's fight. And,
That's a Simpsons reference.
Wyatt said, quote, "I'm not going to fight you, Ike. There's no money in it." End quote.
That's kind of badass.
It is. And Ike didn't, Ike didn't like that, and he said, quote, "I'll be ready for you in the morning." End quote. And he's like, "In the morning, I'm going to fight all y'all. All y'all in the morning, I'm going to fight you." He's like, "I bet you, I'll take all y'all." And he kept saying that shit. Yeah.
I'm an early riser.
It's at night. It's at night. I'm an early riser.
I need to go to bed, get my 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to fight all y'all.
Yeah. He kind of followed Wyatt over to the Oriental as he was sort of repeated he goes, quote, "You must not think I won't come after you all in the morning." End quote.
You said that 100 times.
Yeah, and Wyatt turns around, and I don't have many sources that corroborate this, but it's such a good line. Wyatt turns to Ike and he says, "Ike, you sure do talk a lot for a fighting man."
Nice.
Because Wyatt's a fighting man.
Yeah.
Let's be real here.
Yeah.
He's a Buffaloan fighting man. Ike is not.
Based on the movie,
Yeah.
I can clearly say that.
Yeah. Well, based from what you know about Wyatt Earp,
Yes.
you know what I mean. He's a fighting man. Now that night, Ike actually played cards. It was sort of an unfriendly, contentious card game with Virgil, Tom McClowry, Johnny Bean was there, and it was this sort of contentious
Michael Bean.
game. Yeah, and it was sort of like an overnight card game. They played cards all night.
Cowboy Cold War.
And Ike, as he was leaving, he said, quote, "As soon as those damned Earps make their appearance on the street today, the ball will drop." Like he says that like in the street and stuff.
Because it's New Year's, baby.
Been waiting all year for this. Next year's going to be even better.
Yeah.
Living for New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And he said, we're here to make a fight, and we're looking for those sons of bitches. And he went all around town. He's drunk as fuck. He's drunk as fuck. Keep in mind, he's been drunk all day. All night he's been drunk. Okay? And he's just running his mouth, right?
Going around town being like, I'm going to fight him tomorrow. I'm going to fight him tomorrow. Hey,
and he keeps going.
Man, I got a headline for you. I'm going to fight him tomorrow.
You're not actually inaccurate.
If anyone has anything to say about these chicks, I'm going to kick their ass.
He would go into other saloons and like drink there and like tell everyone there how much he was going to like kick their asses the next day. You know? And like into the morning. He stayed up all night.
I feel like its odds of actually kicking their asses, the longer it goes down and down, and he just keeps talking and talking.
Yeah.
Nothing like being extraordinarily hungover at a gunfight.
Oh no, 0 sleep. You never stopped drinking hangover.
Yeah.
And 0 cocaine to help you through.
Once the sun comes up,
He's
can't
like,
do without the cocaine.
Where's that holiday dentist? I need some cocaine.
He doesn't like you.
Go? Yeah. God damn it. I said I was going
to kill him. Yeah.
That's how this really happened.
Son of a bitch.
Like, I need cocaine for the fight I've been fucking flapping my mouth out about all night.
Yeah. And, like, at this point, like, you know, Virgil is going home, and as Virgil's going home, Ike is like, hey, can you give Doc Holliday a message for me? And Virgil goes, what's the message, Ike? And he goes, you tell him in the morning I'm gonna have a fight with them. And he like, whatever, dude, sleep it off, man. And he like starts to walk away. And as he starts to walk away, Ike goes, that means you aren't gonna give him my message? And he goes, no, Ike, Jesus Christ, leave, dude. And so he does, and like Ike or Virgil, Wyatt, they're all home asleep, right? And like people try to wake him up, and they're like, "Dude, Ike Clanton's talking about killing you, dude."
Yeah, he's been talking about that for 24 fucking straight hours.
Yeah, and like Virgil and Wyatt, when they're woken up by this, they're like, "Ah, shut up," and they go back to sleep. Yeah. They're not taking him seriously,
like, come on,
not at all.
Right.
Every book except for one that I read for this whole series calls Ike Clanton a blowhard. That word, a blowhard.
Yeah, I can dig it.
And that's the way they thought of him. They did not take any of this seriously.
I mean, I don't mean to interrupt, but like I can't help but visualize this like in a movie, him going around saying like, I'm gonna kick all your asses in the morning, and at first everyone's kind of fearful, and then it's like time lapse, and you see him getting more wasted, and people are like, okay, I'm not as scared anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, he's not gonna do anything. And the next thing you know, like, he's kind of like sitting, like slumped in a corner, pissing himself, still going, I'm gonna kick your ass. And people are just kind of like shaking their head, pitying the guy, you know, throwing a blanket over him.
I wish he passed out.
Give him some water, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
They all heard this shit before out of Ike, you know, and a lot of people, honestly. The Earps were not afraid of him.
Right.
You know, not at all. Let's keep in mind, they were up all night. Mm-hmm. They needed rest. Yeah. Ike was drunk as fuck, walking around all night, drinking and getting more pissed off. But the day of, you know, all morning, Ike has been doing this. They wake up Virgil again, and it's like, this is a direct quote. There's likely to be hell. Ike Clanton has threatened to kill Holiday as soon as he gets up. He's counting you fellas in too. And Virgil goes, all right, I'll go see what he wants. Gets out of bed.
He's like a hungover dad on Christmas morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Been there.
Yeah. It was early afternoon when this is starting to happen, you know what I mean? And by this time, Ike is armed. He found his guns. He's walking the streets with his 6-gun and his Winchester rifle. Now, when cowboys walk around with a Winchester rifle, they're not fucking around. You know what I mean?
The noodles are on the pot, and they're boiling.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, indeed.
Never did find his shoes from last night, but...
Misplaced those.
It's like, I don't know when I took them off, but...
Yeah.
They aren't on my feet anymore.
Yeah. And Kate, who was in Tombstone at this time, woke Doc up. And she was like, hey, so that Ike Clanton wants to see you. Like, he's been talking about, having a fight with you. Mm-hmm. And Doc gets out of the bed, and he has a great line. He says, quote, if God lets me live long enough to get my clothes on, he'll see me. This is a man at the end of his rope. He has nothing to lose. Mm-hmm. He knows it, So they all, Virgil and Morg and Wyatt, they meet up, and they're like, all right, you take Fremont, I'll take Allen, and you take Tough Nut Street. And they start walking, trying to look for Ike. Virgil finds Ike, and he's talking with someone else, but he's straight up holding the gun and stuff, and Virgil comes up behind him. When Ike turns around, Virgil grabs his gun, slaps him in the face.
Nice.
And, Virgil said that he was going for his 6 gun. And as he takes it, and some people say he was going to give the 6 gun to Virgil, right? Because he's disarming him. Well, as he goes for the gun, Virgil buffaloes him. Mm-hmm. Right? Pistol whips him.
He's been talking shit all night.
And he's... Could you imagine a hangover, being drunk all night and all morning, and then getting buffaloed?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, thanks.
Yeah, so...
He deserved it.
He takes a disarmed Ike with a horrible headache down to, the police court. Mm-hmm. Where they can, all right, Ike, you're carrying guns in city limits, here's a fine. That's what they're gonna do. Mm-hmm. But they take him down there. Virgil hands him over to Morg because the judge isn't in. He's actually doing a wedding right now. So he runs to get the judge. But in the meantime, Morg's sitting there with Ike, and Ike's just being a fucking prick. He's like, you sons of bitches, you fucking Earps, I swear to God. And Wyatt comes in. Mm-hmm. And, Ike loses it. And he's like, you sons of bitches, I swear to God, we're gonna have a fight one of these days, you'll see. And Morgan straight up gives him his gun back, and he goes, you want to do it right now?
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm. And Ike doesn't take the gun. Yeah. But everyone that's watching, because this is drawing a crowd by now.
Right.
Everyone's heard about it. Ike's told everybody there's gonna be a fight, right? Mm-hmm. So people are gathered now.
You're like, oh, hell yeah.
And once Morgan gives him his gun back, everyone scatters. And when there's no gunshots, they come back.
Right.
Wyatt said, quote, he lost his shit. Now he was not a man to usually lose his shit, but he says, quote, you damn dirty cow thief. You have been threatening our lives, and I know it. I will go anywhere on earth to fight you, even over to the San Simon, among your crowd. And he's like, I got the best, I got all the best evidence and everything. I'll go anywhere and fight your ass,
most
motherfucker.
beautiful evidence.
Believe me.
Believe me. People say it all the time.
Yeah.
God, that guy would be hilarious if he wasn't the president.
Yeah, but Ike
seems like an Old West, blowhard.
Yeah, he's an Ike Clanton. He's a fucking gutless fucking worm is what he is. Anyway.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, Donald Trump is. Just so I'm clear. Ike said, quote, I will see you after I get through here. I only want 4 feet of ground to fight on. That's all he wants.
Okay.
Right? So Wyatt leaves in a huff, and as he's leaving the place, he almost runs into Tom McClowry. He was going in there to see what all this is about. Mm-hmm. And Tom McClowry's like, I heard there's a fight going on. He's like, you want to fight us? I'll fight you anywhere, man. You will fight right here, man.
God.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and Wyatt's good and pissed off at this point, right? He exploded earlier.
God, these people, if anybody says anything about these chicks, they're going to kick their ass.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just
honor's such a big thing. You threaten someone's honor.
Yeah.
If you don't fight now, it's kind of a mark against you.
They're looking for a fight all the time.
Yeah. Wyatt is like, I'll do it right here. And Tom hesitates in pulling out his gun. Mm-hmm. So Wyatt slaps him across the face.
All right.
Then he buffaloes him.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And around...
Case closed.
Yeah. And he walks across the street, buys a cigar, and sits down, smokes a cigar.
A heavy cigarilla.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
At this point, he's literally fuming.
Yeah. Indeed. But then Virgil shows up with the judge. They're like, all right, $25, Ike. you're carrying guns in town, dude. Can't do that. And then they send him on his way. He goes to the doctor, gets his head checked out. Him and Tom do, and then the rest of the morning, the crowd is there, and they get, people from the crowd are running back and forth. Oh, they're doing this, guys. They're doing this. The McClurys are doing this, guys. And the Earps are like, and they're running back to the McClurys and Ike Clanton and whatnot. And they're like, hey, they're doing this, guys.
They're doing this. They're doing that. They're doing it with a wiffle ball bat.
Yeah. And it continues like the whole day, And
oh my god, this is like playground antics.
Oh, this is a schoolyard fight.
The children.
Make no bones about it. This is a schoolyard fight. And then like there's rumors going around, and the rumor mill is just running wild, and they're like, Ike was seen by the telegraph office. He's gonna get some cowboys down here. He's getting some backup down here. You better do something about it now. And just right after that, Frank McClory shows up with Billy Clanton, and they think that's backup.
Mm-hmm.
And then Billy Claiborne, who's a cowboy and on parole from murder, he has a court date that he needs to get to at some point. He's there, and they're like, oh shit, that's backup.
Yeah.
But it's a coincidence. Billy Claiborne was already there. Frank McClory and Billy Clanton have no idea what has transpired. No idea.
Everyone's just like, hey guys, what's up?
Well, and that's exactly how Doc responds to them. So, they come in, and Doc is waking up. It's like noon, and Doc is just waking up. And when he sees Frank McClory, he goes, hey, how's it going? Not a direct quote, but he says, hello,
Right.
And they're like,
Top
hi.
of the morning tea.
And after that, after they see Doc, it sounds ominous to them. Because then they get filled in on the story. They're like, oh shit, there's a fight coming and Doc just tipped his hat at us? It sounds ominous. But Doc is a little unaware, right? So Doc goes to meet up with Wyatt, Virgil, and Morgan and everybody down there.
He's doing his usual routine,
yeah.
But it's looking like something else is happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of people going in and it's like, all right, fill me in, guys.
What does it mean?
Yeah. And Frank McClory, he's just trying to conduct business. He goes to the bank first. And actually, he has a lot of money on him. This is something that, who knows if he has a lot of money on him. But
he's got some cash.
He, from the bank transactions that we have, he deposited a lot of money. He had a lot of money on him. But maybe a lot of business in town to do that day. But he hears about Ike and Tom, his brother, who just got buffaloed, which does not sit well with Tom, by the way. Mm-hmm. And Billy, of course, is on Ike's team. And so now it's all building, right? And they're like, okay, well, we're here in town to do our business. We're going to do that because we don't come to town very often. We're going to do that, and then we're going to get the fuck out. Let's take Ike home. He's been drinking. Let's get him home.
They sound like responsible guys.
They're like,
honestly, yes.
They're even like Ike is being unreasonable.
Yeah,
they are. They are. And,
we don't like Ike.
Yeah, and they go to the gun store, which is
to get themselves some guns. Ha
right.
ha ha ha.
Right next to the liquor store.
And that's
the
what they
store.
think. They think, they got people running back and forth being like, they're at the gun store. But they're buying bullets, right?
It's one of 3 stores in the town.
There's more than that.
Well,
but anyway.
If it's Red Dead Redemption, it isn't.
Yeah. It's one. They're like, no, we always buy bullets. That's what we do when we come to town. But Ike tries to buy a gun. And he's like, no, dude, I've heard what's going on here. I'm not selling you a fucking gun.
Yeah.
He tries twice to buy a gun. They won't sell him a gun. So Ike is unarmed this whole time, right?
They are denying him his Second Amendment rights.
Yes, they are.
Blackout drunk for 24 straight hours, talking shit all over town, and then requesting to buy a gun at noon.
After getting the guns you already own taken away.
Yeah.
Then given back after paying a nominal fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I just love how the only thing that Ike is shooting off is his mouth right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
For now.
Not for a lack of trying.
All right.
But while they're at the gun store, because of one of the rules, no animals inside, Frank McClory's horse is on the sidewalk and it's poking its head inside the gun store.
Oh, god damn it.
So Wyatt comes over, and depending on who he asks, he roughly takes the horse off the sidewalk and into the street. And they see this, And the McClorys and the Clantons both think that, like, oh, now they're targeting us.
Right.
They're just targeting us for everything. Jesus Christ. Can't we have a moment alone without the fucking Earps up our fucking ass? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like...
Onyx wants to stick her head in the gun shop like she always does. And they're pulling her away.
She just wants her muzzle pat real nice and soft. But...
Well, and to Frank McClory's credit... You know, he, without a word, he takes the reins from Wyatt, and he, you know, hitches the horse up and everything, and it's okay for now. But there's still people gathered around, there's still people waiting. Everyone's on edge, you know what I mean? And, like, Johnny Bean, who was getting his hair cut, he shows up, and he's like,
so
what the fuck is that? Yeah, and he's like, so they're armed? And it's like, well, we don't know if Tom and Billy are armed, or if Billy Claiborne is armed. Johnny Bean is like, well, Virgil, it's up to you. It's something you have to do. This is your duty to go and disarm these guys. Ugh. You know, and like he takes him and he's like, let's take a drink, let's cool off. And like he goes, here, Virgil. And Virgil refuses, and he goes, all right. You know what? Let me go over there first. You know, Johnny Bean says this, and he goes, I go over there, they're not going to shoot me on sight. Right. You know? He goes, I'll go over first, I'll disarm him. And he's like, about fucking time. So Johnny Bean goes over there, you know. In the meantime, like, Virgil's planning for the worst. So he goes over to the Wells Fargo office, he borrows a 10-gauge Wells Fargo shotgun, you know. And he's standing there with
I've done that down at the Wells Fargo. You get it right out of the ATM.
Yeah. A big teller just hands
I would
it
like
over.
to withdraw, $20 and a 10 gauge.
Yeah. Yeah. Double barrel shotgun. So he's standing there. Like, Morg's there, Wyatt's there. They're talking. Doc shows up. He's like, what the fuck? What's going on? He's like, we're gonna have to... There's gonna be a fight soon. You know, they just have resigned themselves. There's gonna be a fight soon. So, like... Doc goes, well, you're taking me? And Wyatt goes, it's none of your concern, dude. And he goes, quote, a direct quote, that's one hell of a thing for you to say to me. Virgil's like, well, you're deputized. And he hands him the gun. Which is probably the worst mistake he could have ever made.
Fuck.
Because you're you're deputizing a drunk dentist.
Yeah.
Right.
Gambling dentist to be your deputy. You know what I mean?
Who has literally two modes.
Yeah.
Drunken cards or shooting and also drunk.
Yeah.
And probably, like, 2 months to live, tops.
Yeah. Nothing
He's
to
got
live
nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Right.
And
he's like, do I die of tuberculosis or a gunshot today? What's the fucking
who's
difference?
to say?
There was a firefight!
So, people keep running up to him, like, oh, sounds like they want to kick your ass and stuff, or get in a fight or something. And so they start walking down the street, down Fremont Street, like, with their guns, like, Doc exchanged his cane for the shotgun. So Virgil is holding Doc's cane, but he has a 6-shooter, in his holster. Anyway, they start walking down. Meanwhile, Johnny Bean's down by, the McClorys and the Clantons, and he's like, yeah, I gotta disarm you guys. And Ike is like, I'm not armed! Which he wasn't. And Frank goes, dude, we're leaving town, man. We're leaving right now, okay? I'm not giving you my gun right now. We're leaving, okay? Everything's ready. We're going. And Johnny Bean... I guess he was placated by that, And so he starts walking away. And he sees the Earps coming down. He goes, don't go down there. Don't go down there. You're going to get in a gunfight if you go down there. They're like, well, we're going to disarm them. And he goes, I just disarmed them. Now, what they thought he meant by that was he took their guns from them. Not he went down and said... you guys got to be disarmed, and then they said, we're leaving right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So they thought that they didn't have any guns when they went down, right? So they kind of relaxed a little bit. Now, as they're talking and stuff, like, a guy, like, yells, like, in between. And by the way, it's not necessarily at the OK Corral. It's actually kind of, like, 3 doors down.
It's kitty corner.
Well, it's 3 doors...
But the gunfight near the OK Corral doesn't have the same ring to it.
Well, it's in a very small empty lot near Fly's boarding house.
The gunfight at Fly's boarding house.
The gunfight at Fly's boarding house, which is about 3 doors down from the OK Corral. It's not quite the same.
Yeah.
Rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah, and like there's a rear entrance that's sort of close. Anyway, but the problem with it is that Doc is boarding at Fly's boarding house. When he sees the cowboys in that vacant lot next to that place,
God damn it,
he thinks they're coming to kill him. So, you know, when Virgil told him, like, hide this under your fucking coat before we get up there, Doc sees them there and he goes, oh my god, they're gonna fucking kill me. And he tosses off his coat and he raises the shotgun immediately.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming in hot, right? And Virgil steps up and he goes, I'm here to disarm you guys. And, like, Frank and Tom, they both go, I got nothing, like, and Frank opens his jacket, and I think one of them touches their hip.
right?
Which is the universal sign for going for a gun, right? And Tom was, well, people dispute this, but Tom was armed. So was Billy Clanton, and so was Frank Clanton. Or Frank McClure, right? Those three were armed. Ike was not armed. Billy Claiborne was not armed. So, as this is happening, this is sort of in slow... I'm going to tell this to you in slow motion, because so much happens, right?
All right, bullet time this.
Yeah. So Doc has that gun up. He's telling them all this stuff. They see them going down for a gun, right? And Virgil says something like, no, I didn't mean that, or no, I don't want that. Yeah,
Right.
And Wyatt, who's pointing at Frank McClure because he heard that he was a better shot than Tom McClure, who is actually reaching down rather than opening his jacket, he shoots at Tom McClure, and then, like, the two shots happen almost at the same time, almost immediately, right after they say, I need to disarm you. Like, it happens almost immediately, you know? And then the shooting becomes indiscriminate, right? Like, everyone's shooting, Morgan's shooting, who's with them, Wyatt's shooting, Doc Holliday. So what happens is that Frank is hit in the stomach. He kind of keels over, but he's still walking. He gets behind his horse. Tom is also shot. He falls back, but he's still alive. Billy Clanton is shot, but he falls back. He's still alive. Ike runs up to Wyatt, and he says he wrestles with the gun, but I think he, like, grabbed him, being like, no, don't do this. And Wyatt says, the fight's commenced. Get to fighting or get out. And he throws him away.
Get busy dying.
Yeah. And Ike runs, and he runs into Fly's boarding house. He runs in there for protection.
Right.
You know? And Billy Claiborne runs, too. This shows that these two guys are unarmed.
Either of those guys could have been my great-great-grandfather.
Frank hides behind his horse as like a shield.
Yeah.
But all the shooting scares the horse, and the horse runs away. Oh, no. And as this is happening, Doc empties his shotgun into Frank McClure, right? Or he shoots it in the air and the horse runs away. A whole thing happens. But at one point, Frank levels his gun at Doc, and he says, now I've got you. And Doc says, you're a daisy if you have. Blaze away. You know.
Yeah.
Before he can do anything, Morgan shoots him, right?
Oof.
And Billy Clanton is sitting on the ground, trying to shoot, but can't, and ends up dying, you know. So basically, Tom McClure, Frank McClure, and Billy Clanton are all killed in this whole thing. Morgan takes a bullet through the shoulder that exits on the other side of his shoulder.
Oh, that's no good.
And it tears off a piece of vertebra.
Oh, fuck.
It's pretty bad. Virgil takes a bullet to the calf that drops him to his knees for a second, and he gets back up, which is fucking nuts.
That's adrenaline, man.
Yeah. Doc takes a bullet, goes through his holster pocket, and grazes his back. It makes a red mark against his back.
Fucking A.
Barely missed him.
Motherfucker.
And the only one untouched was Wyatt.
Weird.
Completely untouched. And, you know, everyone's gathering around. It's a whole crowd and shit. People are pulling, like, people inside and all sorts of stuff. Ike is screaming, you know, and, like, all this shit is happening. And, like, that day, you know, like, they're figuring out, like, we gotta charge somebody for murder. There are 3 dead people. We thought they were...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
This is Ike's fault.
Yeah, well, Johnny Bean runs back up and he's like, what the fuck? I told you not to go down there. And Wyatt goes, you fucked us, dude. Like, you told us they were disarmed. Like, you really screwed us on that one. And he's like, I didn't say I took their guns. I said I went down there to disarm them. You know?
I didn't say that I had taken the vaccine. I said I was immunized. It's different.
Semantics.
Yeah. It's a string of misunderstandings. And just, he thought this when they meant that. And, like, all these strings of things that led to this tragic event.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
If it wasn't so crazy and tragic, this would have been fucking Blazing Saddles.
Right.
Like, this is...
well,
this
I'm not that happy, I guess.
Well,
but
I mean, come on now. Like, this is totally something from a comedy. Like...
Right. Without that,
a comedy
all
of
the deaths
errors.
and everything, but
And
totally
by
a comedy
errors,
of
I
errors.
mean dead people.
Well, I mean, without the gunfight, it's a drunk man saying how bad he wants to kick someone's ass.
Right.
Which we've all seen.
Right.
Yeah.
Who happens to be a
You
total
guys heard
fucking
it here
pussy.
first. If Jerry was president, he'd take away all of our guns.
Yeah.
One has to think, like, if Bat were there instead of Doc, shit would have ended way differently.
Well, I mean, he's kind of famous for talking people down, right?
Well, that, and, like, he's not just gonna... Like Virgil told him to hide the gun. You know what I mean? And he pulls it out immediately. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, Bat and Wyatt knew how to police effectively. Mm-hmm. Doc did not.
Through de-escalation.
Oh, no.
Doc was not that way. You know?
He's like, these motherfuckers
He was a
are killing
man-
me, and I just got deputized.
Yeah,
so.
Doc was a modern day police officer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pulling over.
He was ahead of his time.
In a lot of ways.
Christ. Whoa.
Oh God. Well, he's also racist, but
Yeah, well,
makes
there you
sense.
go.
There was a trial. There was a coroner's inquest and a trial and everything. They had to put Doc and Wyatt in jail, and it was a whole thing. And honestly, I recommend all the books in our source material for shit about the trial. The thing is the Earps hired like the best lawyers they could find, and their defense team was magnanimous. They made Ike look like a cowardly idiot in front of everyone because he kind of was.
Right.
And they got off, right? Judge Spicer even pulled Wyatt aside after the trial and he said, "This is not the way to beat these cowboys, dude." He goes, "Next time, you gotta leave your enemies out in the bush where there's no witnesses." This is a judge.
Wow.
Telling Wyatt this.
Well, it sounds like he's giving a judgment.
Yeah. So now they're afraid of retribution from the cowboys, right? And for like a few months, shit was kind of quiet, which is sort of disconcerting. Yeah. But they moved all of their family into one hotel because it's just easier to defend.
Well, that sounds fun.
That way. All the Earps into one hotel. Yeah.
Hotel Earp. Coming this season to JJ Peacock
Yeah.
Network.
Yeah. Now some people, because Will McClowry came into town, he was a lawyer, and honestly, by all accounts, a good dude. He was mad at the Earps though for killing his brothers.
Yeah.
He wanted to see him hanged, of course, but some people say that he hired assassins. The problem with that is that the cowboy assassins didn't need monetary reward to seek revenge against the Earps. Okay,
Right.
They did not need that.
Well,
So-
maybe it was win-win. You get paid and you get to kill people.
Maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. There were a group of assassins though that were mustered at multiple times, but the most important time that we're talking about, Pete Spence, Florentino Cruz, and Frank Swilling, and Indian Charlie, they started stalking the Earps, and on one day, December 28th, 1881, just a few months after the OK Corral gunfight, so-called OK Corral gunfight, which lasted 30 seconds, of course. 30 bullets in 30 seconds is what they think. Super quick.
Yeah.
That's why there's so much confusion around it, honestly. It is because it was so fast, a lot
So
happened.
furious.
Yeah.
Yes. It was too
Yeah.
fast. It's too furious.
The reason
Yeah.
why I always refer to this day as
They were Tokyo drifting everywhere.
Hey, you never mess with family.
the day I lost my virginity. I always refer to it as the battle at the OK Corral because it ended in 30 seconds.
And there was lots of confusion.
Yeah, there's tons of confusion. Nobody knew what was going on, what, where,
Yeah.
and why.
Lots of shots fired.
Yeah, just shooting everywhere.
Yeah, 30 shots in 30 seconds.
One night, December 28th, 1881, Virgil was on patrol. People ran up to him, ambushed him, and shot him with a shotgun.
Oof.
Tore into his... it hit him in the shoulder and tore into his arm. It completely crippled his arm. They thought he was going to die. They thought that he would need his arm amputated. He said no amputation, but he lost all use of that arm. And back in the day, what they would do as sort of a temporary measure is they would sew, your forearm and hand to your bicep with string. They'd sew it on the outside.
Huh.
So it stuck up like this.
So it's tied up. So your arm was...
Well, no, so it's up like
Oh.
this. So the strings
Still.
would run.
So you could pup it.
Well, it looks like your arm was in a perpetual sling,
Right.
right? That's what it looked like.
They didn't think of slings at the time.
Well, they had slings, but they sewed it up like that just to be like, okay, now you can kind of take care of it, right?
Yeah.
They eventually cut the strings and whatnot.
And it was
just,
a party and everyone...
It just
Yay, it's
Just
free
dangles.
again.
it dangled loose. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it gets caught on a fence post,
Yeah.
They set off a single dove.
Yeah. Well, and maybe Virgil thought like his, my brother regained the use of his arm.
So
Yeah.
maybe he
who
thought.
knows?
Is that the one we were talking about?
Yeah.
Getting stuck on a fence post?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think James, was it James that almost lost the use of his
Yeah,
arm?
but he
Yeah.
got it back
But he got it back, yeah.
through an act of sheer stubbornness.
Yes, and I think Virgil was trying to be that stubborn. But he told his wife, who was hysterical, Wyatt Earp.
Wyatt Earp?
Yep. He told her, he said, it's so sweet. He said, this is as he's being operated on. He said, it's okay. I still have one arm to hug you with.
Aww.
So sweet.
And she's like, but the thing is the other arm is the one with all the dexterity, and I need that for my pussy. So
That's true.
that's why I'm crying.
Well, now Wyatt was the federal marshal. Wyatt being federal marshal, replacing his brother Virgil, they were sort of imprisoned in Tombstone, not knowing who's going to come after them and who's not, right? They're all looking,
Figuratively in prison.
Yeah,
Surrounded
figuratively.
by enemies.
Well, they think, you know. And they have their supporters, right? But
if that's your thought, though, like, it's not... If that's what your mindset is, it might as well be true.
If you're surrounded if you think you're surrounded by enemies, you're surrounded by enemies.
Exactly.
Like Charlie's in the trees, man.
Yeah, exactly. And Johnny Ringo got real drunk one day, as he's one to do.
Also sounds like a porn star.
Right, absolutely.
He started spouting off about how he was going to fight Doc. And Doc took him up on his offer. And he said, I'm your Huckleberry. That's just my game.
What was it like in the movie? I don't know. I was just gamming with you. He goes,
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah. Well,
Something
remember, Doc Holliday in his early life, that kid had challenged him to a duel. And he was like, oh, I was just kidding. I thought this was going to be a mock duel. And he was like, I wasn't kidding.
Yeah, you think that was...
Yeah.
Because, like, that scene's made up for the...
Doc Holliday's bloodthirsty.
Well, he has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
He's a dentist.
You're an anti-dentite.
Rabid.
Rabid.
We don't know exactly what happened between Johnny and Doc, but it's clear what the animosity was. And it was spilling onto the street, and just before they could, like, have a fucking duel, somebody grabbed Johnny and they defused the situation, But it wasn't...
de-escalating.
Yeah, they de-escalated it.
And Bat wasn't there.
Bat wasn't there,
It's
no.
probably a McDonald's employee.
It was probably...
From Pike and Third.
It was definitely a Bean deputy that grabbed Johnny and got him out of there.
Grab Michael Bean.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce that? The actor plays Johnny Ringo.
Yes.
Michael Biehn?
Michael Biehn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really caught one back there in Terminator.
Yeah. And he definitely caught one in Tombstone. If you know what I'm saying. He gets shot.
Just
Spoiler
you
alert.
way, baby.
there's a span of time that goes by where it's really quiet in Tombstone, like I said earlier, and it's really disconcerting. But they thought that maybe it's safe, so Wyatt, Doc, and Morgan go out to see a show. They got to see a show, and then after the show's done, they walk back and they're gonna play some pool, some billiards.
Mm-hmm.
And they walk back to this place that they played billiards at a lot. They're playing with the owner. Him and Morgan are playing, and Wyatt's just sitting in a chair. And all of a sudden, there's gunshots through the window. One, the second shot goes right by Wyatt's head and hits the wall behind him, narrowly missing him. The other, as the first shot though, as Morgan is taking a shot, literally as he's taking a shot in pool, a shot goes up his back.
Ooh.
Like the bullet goes all the way up his back.
Like,
does it hit the cue ball and then the cue ball hits the 8 ball into the corner pocket?
No.
It hits a knife that's on the table that's in a wedge of cheese. The knife flips around and it hits a picture of Wyatt on the wall.
Which comes down, knocks the ball down, and
Yeah,
then the ball
knocks a ball down.
and then
But the ball's up there. It slides down a thing. It startles a bird. The bird drops
an egg.
and it lands on a thing.
It lands on a frying pan, and
it cooks.
It cooks, and it cooks into the shape of the words, Wyatt Earp is dead.
Yeah. I thought we were doing Rube Goldberg at some point.
We're gonna do Rube Goldberg at some point. We certainly will. Anyway,
Yeah, the tragedy of Rube Goldberg.
The wrestler.
Yeah. They run outside to see who it was. They're already gone. But Morgan dies within the hour. He dies fast. Morgan expresses to Wyatt the fact that he wants to get back at whoever did this. And, Wyatt promises to his brother as he's dying that he's going to get whoever did this. And some people say that they had a pact. That, if I'm dying or you're dying and you're there, you gotta tell me if there's something, like a light or something at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
You gotta tell me if there's something there.
Yeah.
And according to legend, Morgan tells Wyatt, I don't see a damn thing.
Badass.
It's fucking badass.
That light at the end of the tunnel is a hallucination based off of your brain fucking...
flooding with good chemicals.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, it's
a scientific understanding about why.
It's your soul leaving your body going into a tunnel to heaven so God can give you cake.
So God can judge you and send you to hell.
So St. Peter can let you in to get cake.
Yeah. Uh-huh. You get in line. St. Peter's there. He goes, this guy is a child rapist, but as he was dying, he repented, so he's coming in.
Unless it's...
you stole gum when you were in the 3rd grade. You didn't repent. Straight to hell for you.
I like how you're going with Catholic rules here.
Yeah, this is Catholic.
But I'm mainly worried about the ratio of cake to people.
God can make as much cake as he needs.
Yeah.
He's God.
Yeah.
But he only makes a little. So, and Morgan died a couple of minutes after midnight, which would be Wyatt's 34th birthday. So his brother died on his birthday.
I'm older than that.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It is sad.
I don't remember being 34.
Happy
What
birthday.
the fuck was that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was 4 years ago?
Wyatt wired Marshall Dake, and he said, hey man, people are trying to kill us, and the local law is not doing anything about it. Don't know what to do, And Dake's like, fuck, I hope you get the guys responsible. And Wyatt was like,
suggest?
oh, I'm going to.
Yeah. That's why I'm calling you through my own personal wire service, Wyatt Earp. And
God damn it.
Wyatt Earp.
Nice.
letting you know what my plans are.
Yeah. So what they did immediately was they, James and Warren, and because they're still here, right?
Mm-hmm.
They and Doc and a couple of Wyatt's friends, which would be Turkey Creek Jack Johnson.
Yeehaw!
Gobble gobble.
And Texas Jack Vermillion.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Toby Huss.
Toby Huss.
Yeah.
In our Patreon show.
Yeah, we talk about how Texas Jack Vermillion should be Toby Huss from several things. He's in lots.
I think he should have been played by Toby Huss in that. I don't give a fuck.
He wouldn't have been too old, I don't think.
I mean, he was about Artie, the strongest man in the world.
Yeah, he was Artie, the strongest man in the world, aged. at that point.
One of them was like a descendant of one of the people in this story, in the movie Tombstone. Anyway, Texas Jack, actually, somebody asked him, like, how'd you get the name Texas Jack? And he said, that's because I'm from Virginia.
Okay.
Which is funny.
All right.
He's like, I enjoy drawing blank stares.
Yeah. But they acted as a bodyguard for them, and they were moving their family out of Tombstone, getting them just gone on the train.
Then he'd get gone.
Yeah. So James, and his wife, they took Morgan's body to Colton, California, to where Nick Earp was staying, take the body back, and they were going to take Virgil up to Tucson and put him on the train there, and take him back to California as well.
California.
Yeah, and
California,
and they were going to be bodyguards the whole time, just to make sure. And when they were in Tucson and getting Virgil on the train, Ike Clanton was there with his buddy, who was a noted cowboy, Frank Stillwell. And they were there. And once Wyatt saw them, he was like, oh, shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
So, Wyatt has a shotgun, and Ike runs, and Frank Stillwell, who, like, trips and falls on the ground.
What an idiot!
He is on the ground in the dust, begging for his own life. And he even grabs the barrel of the double-barrel shotgun. And we know that, because his hand was burnt.
Oh, shit.
Because Wyatt didn't care if he was begging for his life. He blew him away. He gave him both barrels.
Fuck.
And when, Warren and Doc and all of them heard the gunshots, they come out and they started shooting him too.
Oh my god.
So his body was riddled with bullets.
It's like that
Fucking
protester
Swiss
in Akira.
cheese.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Shreds his skin
Or
right
the guy,
off.
the guy in RoboCop that...
Yeah,
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
call a medic, the Ed 209 guy.
yeah.
He should have just stopped and did what Ed 209 was saying.
Yeah.
He did!
Not hard enough.
Yeah.
You should have really acted it out.
Yeah. But the thing is they weren't actually doing anything. This wasn't actually mutual combat. So they had killed this man in cold blood. And there was a warrant out for their arrest. And when they returned to Tombstone to kind of form their posse and go find these cowboys and take up, what Judge Spicer said, leave your fucking enemies in the bush. They were actually going to do it. They got there, they're kind of getting their shit together, and Johnny Bean claims he went to arrest them.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, hey, I gotta talk to you. And they brushed past him, and he didn't do anything. And they left. And they rode off into the fucking desert. And he claimed, I tried to arrest him. I tried. And they didn't. He didn't even tell them they were under arrest.
Yeah.
He said,
They're
I
just
have
like,
to talk to you.
Excuse me, would you like to hear about your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ?
Yeah.
Right.
And something that's added to the animosity between Wyatt and Johnny Bean is that Wyatt has been secretly seeing Josephine Marcus.
Oh, just like in the movie.
Just like in the movie. Yeah, they kept it really on the down low. When they ride out into the desert, there is a warrant on all of their heads as they were hunting these fucking cowboys and the people fucking responsible for Morgan's death.
Yeah.
When Bat lost his brother, he didn't react in this way, but Wyatt sure did, And he was frustrated with the law enforcement at the time.
Oh, he's like Batman, unlike Bat Masterson.
So Wyatt's posse included Warren, Doc Holliday,
Yeah.
Turkey Creek Jack Johnson,
Gobble, gobble.
yeah,
The Gobbler.
Texas Jack Vermillion,
Yeah.
and Sherman McMaster, who they
that
called
your-
Sherm.
Texas Jack. You're like, I gotta make a sound.
Yeah.
I feel like he was like, I'm the Wiz.
Yeah.
From Seinfeld, remember that?
Yeah.
Because he played that
Yeah.
Yeah,
mattress.
Brap, brap.
Yeah. Gravel pit.
yeah.
I'm just saying things.
Actually, Wyatt actually told Johnny Bean as he was leaving, he goes, "You're gonna see me one too many times." Or no, he says, "Johnny, if you're not too careful, You're gonna see me once too often, is what he says.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a great line.
It's a great line, yeah.
Once too often.
There was also Dan Tipton and Hairlip Charlie Smith.
Oh.
Why'd they call him Hair Lip?
Because he had a hair lip.
Oh.
Yeah,
I thought he was German, and his last name was Lip.
At the end of those magazines where they'd show you that back in the 90s all the time, and you're like, your Monday hairlip kids.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I
To get
thought
their
you meant
palette.
like that section in GQ with all the hair lip models wearing different suits.
Ooh.
They're
What
like,
the fuck are you talking about?
oh no, cut that.
I felt like what I said was fucked up.
I don't know what you're. I don't know what you're suggesting, but I automatically grafted the back of GQ where it's like all the dudes in suits. But I just imagine
They're all
them.
hair lip.
They're just like hot fucking hair lip dudes wearing like
Jesus
fucking like
Christ.
houndstooth vests and
It's like
shit.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's the hottest dudes you've ever seen in perfect fucking like cut suits.
Perfect.
But-
Perfect.
Yeah.
Some say that Doc was born with a cleft palate.
No.
And
he fixed it himself.
well, there was a renowned surgeon who he pioneered the surgery in fixing the cleft palate and fixed Doc's.
Yeah.
It didn't go
Just feeling
this far out west
I
yet.
feel like when I was a kid, I was made to feel bad about like people in Africa or whatever
Oh, yeah.
who had cleft palates all the time. I feel like it was a constant
Yeah.
thing, and I had to see it.
Then
all the
Joaquin
time.
Phoenix comes around and he's in a bunch of things, and you're like, dude, fucking
well, he got it fixed.
yeah.
He has
That's
a
what
scar.
happens. That's
He
what
got it fixed.
happens.
Yeah.
You
Or,
come back from it, and then you go and you star in movies. So you know what?
So the posse rode out for Pete Spence's wood camp in the Dragoon Mountains.
Dragoon?
The Dragoon
Yeah, it's the
Mountains,
same
man.
I heard there's a legend of
Got a
those
lance.
dragoons.
Of the-
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Now, Spence wasn't there, but they did find and kill one Florentino Cruz. They killed him. A lot of people say, did he have anything to do, really, with the Cowboys? He did, but it's sticky. They killed him anyway.
They met him one time.
Yeah.
It's like, I met the Cowboys once when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah. Indian Charlie, also.
Aw.
I don't know. Actually, dear listener, if you know this, let me know. Is Indian Charlie and Florentino Cruz the same person? Because I don't think they are. I think Indian Charlie was killed later. Anyway, now 2 days later, they stumbled upon the wood camp of a one Curly Bill Brocious. Now, it was near a place called Iron Springs. I believe.
Iron
Yeah, Iron Springs, yeah.
sprayed in the air.
And this is in the Whetstone Mountains, which is
named for
I
the
think on the
stones
Utah.
being unusually wet.
the Utah border, I believe. Now, according to reports on both sides, basically the Earps are waiting there to get money, and Curly Bill knew he was going to be there. And so when they got there, the Cowboys opened fire on Wyatt Earp and his group, his posse. Now, everyone from Wyatt Earp's posse went running, including Doc, who Wyatt called the bravest man he ever knew. Wyatt fucking turned tail and ran immediately. The only person that stayed...
He was brave in an Armentrout sense.
The only person that stayed was Wyatt. And in the middle of the creek, right, that this took place in...
Turkey Creek.
No.
I just make this up.
Iron Springs, in the middle of the creek, he had a gun battle with Curly Bill. And Curly Bill emptied guns. This man, who's supposed to be this amazing shot, emptied both guns at Wyatt and missed every single
That's
time.
panic.
Yeah, and Wyatt...
Or an act of God.
Yeah, and Wyatt shot his Wells Fargo shotgun at Curly Bill, nearly cutting him in half.
That 100% happens in the movie.
It does.
So this just it's like the that fight scene in Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, when you're fighting against the End.
Oh yes, and you just wait long.
Yeah, you know what? Just you
wait a long time.
You either wait a long time or you
sneak up on
turn on your PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 3, 4, whatever, and change the date.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then reload. And
Or
then,
you run up on him with a shotgun.
That's what I did. I fucking crawled through the grass with a shotgun because I ran out of all my fucking trank and regular sniper rifle bullets. And I remember jumping, rolling, and shooting him because I got so fucking sick of looking through that sniper scope and you see that twinkle and it's like boom and you get hit.
And you're dead.
Yeah.
pretty much everyone ran away. Actually, except for Texas Jack. Only because his horse was shot and he was trapped underneath his horse.
Oh, Texas.
I mean,
He's like, why'd I name my horse Tex?
Yeah.
Imagine Toby Huss stuck under a horse.
Yeah.
Feels right.
The Huss horse.
You got hussed.
Now it's here that I thought that
Dying under the
Indian...
crushing weight of your own horse.
No, it's here that I thought that Indian Charlie was killed. But again, I'm unsure about this. Again, it is some gray shit that happens here. But Indian Charlie and a guy named Johnny Barnes, Wyatt also killed in this whole... He killed 3 people by himself in this whole thing. As he, like, walks back to the guys, like, Doc is like, you must be shot through, you know? And they look at him, and he's fucking untouched, unmarked. Except for his saddle horn is shot off, his boot heel is shot off.
fuck me.
And
He's going to be walking on even for weeks.
his duster, like his coat, is tattered with bullet holes.
Oh, to make him look way cooler when he has no shirt on and he walks through the sunlight.
It's
You
like at
see- yeah, and you see
It's like
all
at the end of
light rays.
Shanghai Noon.
Or T2 when he holds up the jacket in the sunlight and you can see all the bullet holes through it.
Yeah.
Or Pulp Fiction, where like the bullet holes
I already
are in the back of the
referenced
wall.
that.
I know, but
When I
same
said it was
time.
an act of God.
Yeah.
But in Shanghai Noon, there's that part where he's like dressed as a monk, Owen Wilson.
Yeah, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh,
And,
I'm dressed
he's
as
like,
a
oh, I
monk.
killed the guy.
Yeah.
And then like he looks and he's like, all bullet holes are in the
There's
fucking...
a bunch of holes.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I enjoy that movie.
That's fine.
Yeah.
They're dumb, but...
It's
Owen
a
Wilson-
Jackie Chan movie. Come
Owen
on.
Wilson's team-up comedies
They're
are superior with Jackie Chan than Jackie Chan's team-up comedies with Chris Tucker.
Agreed.
What I'm saying is
100% agree.
Rush Hour sucks dick.
Yes.
The Shanghai movies kick ass.
Both Shanghai movies
Shanghai
are
Nights
far...
is better than Shanghai Noon.
I disagree, but both Shanghai movies are better than any Rush Hour could even hope to be. As they're tearing through Arizona, New Mexico, we don't actually know where they went. No one knows where they went. In fact, the Tombstone rumor mill went crazy where they're at. You
They
know,
just went around murdering everyone they saw.
every cowboy they could find. Right?
This is actually where... I'm sorry to derail a little bit.
Go ahead.
But this is actually... The video game Donkey Kong Country is based on this. Because what happened was he found out all his bananas were stolen, which is the equivalent of Wyatt's family being murdered. And then he goes in a direction and murders everyone he sees.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Donkey Kong
exactly the
Country.
same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, if you play the ROM hack Wyatt Earp Country, in the beginning, if you go into his family horde, you can see all of his family murdered, and he gets really sad.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the right, and he collects bits of his family throughout the entire game, and it's pretty much a one-to-one.
Also, they stole his bananas.
Yeah, they also stole Wyatt Earp's.
He was none too happy about that.
Don't get me started with the fight with King K. Rool.
Yeah.
Oh.
So when it was all said and done, the Vendetta Ride, as it's become to known, Wyatt Earp's Vendetta Ride, because it was personal, right? When it was all said and done, 8 people were dead.
Mm-hmm.
There was Frank Stillwell, Curly Bill, Indian Charlie, Johnny Barnes, and then Frank, Tom McClary, Billy Clanton, and Morgan Earp.
There
8
was
people were
the
dead.
jizz,
So we're counting
Old
the
Dirty
people
Bastard.
at the OK Corral, too.
Oh yeah, at the end of all this whole beef with the Cowboys, 8 people were dead. 8 people.
That includes...
for a beef, that sounds like a whole lot of long pork. Long pork is human meat, folks.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I'm just thinking about those commercials where Sam Elliott was talking about...
Cryptocurrency?
Is that a thing?
No. It sounds like a thing, though. It sounds like a
Remember
thing.
he had all those beef
I hear he
commercials
gets those
back in the day. Where it's
cryptocurrencies
like,
from New York City.
Angus or something. Remember what I'm talking about?
Only once in a lifetime do you get to make a big decision. A decision that could change the world. Y'all gotta buy some NFTs.
Yeah.
Got
Sam
Matt
Elliott.
Damon in there and fucking Sam Elliott.
Is Matt Damon in NFTs?
Oh, no.
They're all into NFTs.
Yeah, they're all into NFTs, cryptocurrency.
Fucking,
They're not into it. It's just the people who make them are like, do you want to do a commercial? And they're like, I love money.
It took 2 weeks, by the way, for this whole thing to happen. Even at one point, Johnny Bean formed a posse to go after the Earps.
like a reverse posse.
Yes, a reverse. Among them were like Johnny Ringo, Like, there were these cowboy fucking murderers that went after
Johnny Bean, Johnny Ringo, Johnny Depp,
yeah.
Johnny Utah.
Utah.
And check this
Utah
out.
Jazz.
So you know...
the entire 1979 Utah Jazz.
Yeah. So the Earp posse at one point stops at Henry Hooker's ranch to get more horses and whatnot. And Henry Hooker is an Earp guy. He's like, one day, Wyatt, you're going to get your pardon. I'm going to help you get that. And he was revered, Henry Hooker was. That's who, what's his name? My Cold Dead Hands.
Charlton Heston.
Yeah. Charlton Heston, yeah.
Dave guy.
Yeah, that's... So when, yeah.
That's all we know about him.
So
He's like an ape or something? I don't know. And he was happy that some kids got killed at school. I don't know.
Whatever.
So when Bean shows up, though, to Henry Hooker's ranch, she goes, yeah, what are you here for? Oh, you're looking for the Earps? If I knew where the Earps were, I wouldn't tell you. Even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. Fuck you. Get out of here. That's basically what he did. Yeah. Now, in 1888, Wyatt actually gave an interview to an historian, and we'll kind of get there in the next episode. He claimed to have killed over a dozen stage robbers and murderers and cattle thieves during this vendetta ride. He claimed to have. The only ones that we can really pin down are the ones I just mentioned. But he was wanted in Arizona. He had a warrant on his head, so they couldn't go back to Arizona. None of them
We could never go back to Arizona.
Yeah, so he went to a place called Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Never heard of it.
And
cooked meth.
well, he met up with
ABQ.
he met up with the one person outside of his posse he could trust, and that was Bat Masterson.
Oh, hell yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
He's Bat.
And the thing is in the meantime, Bat had gotten a law position in Trinidad, Colorado. And he goes, come up to Colorado. No, he didn't say that, but he
He might have.
He might have said come up to Colorado.
He's all Colorado.
I'm going to say it's a 70-30.
California.
A 30-70
Yeah.
on him saying come up to Colorado.
Yeah. But the one person that wasn't with him when they got to Albuquerque was Doc Holliday.
Oh, because he's dead.
No.
Oh.
They had a falling out, him and Wyatt did.
He wishes he was dead. He's so sick.
he had a falling out with Wyatt because Doc, drunk as fuck.
Is insufferable.
Yeah. When he was drunk, he said, we don't really know why, but he called Wyatt a Jew boy or a Jew lover because of Josephine Marcus.
Jesus.
Was she Jewish?
Well, the parents were Jewish immigrants, yeah. And he said a bunch of anti-Semitic comments. And
Because he's a racist asshole.
He got
Yeah.
canceled for
he's
being anti-Semitic. That's, way ahead of like everybody's time.
but they went their separate ways. They would reconnect again later, and I'll get there in the next episode, but they had a falling out. They were basically going to rebuild themselves in Colorado now.
Yeah,
Colorado.
With Bat.
It's Colorado.
And, gentlemen, this is not the end of the story.
I know. You told us there was a bit of
Everything I've just told you in the past 4 parts of this whole epic series, it's all going to come together. All of it's going to come together in the
I'm
last
excited.
episode.
This is great.
Yes.
This is a great series that we're doing. We are a great podcast. Everyone should listen to us.
Yeah.
And not another podcast.
I mean, I honestly don't think that there's any other podcast doing this story right now, and I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that facetiously. They're not doing it the way we're doing it, how we're
Not
doing
the
it.
way we're doing it, no.
We got the sauce.
And they don't got Tom
Guys.
Hanks. He's going to be here next episode.
We have Academy Award winner Tom Hanks. How do I say this in a way that somehow indicates that he's going to be here without actually committing
He
to anything?
might be in the next episode.
I have several Tom Hanks DVDs and Blu-rays at home, and let's just say the star of the person who owns them might be on the next episode.
And because we are doing this epic story right now, why don't you go ahead and join our Patreon posse
Indeed.
and
There
be
we go.
one of the History Boys Patreon pals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
indeed.
We got a Discord you can talk on.
Yeah. That's a lot of fun.
We love talking to you on there.
Yeah.
And if you want to take it to the next level, you can get access to all of the new episodes and all of the additional content that we have on there. We're 2 episodes into this year's 12-episode series of the History Boys presents the Tyler Armentrout Project, featuring Chris Whedon.
That's me.
And the second episode has a special guest.
Oh yeah, and it might be Tom Hanks. I'm not saying it's not Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
I'm saying that it's somebody who's seen Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Zach, have you seen Forrest Gump?
Yes, I have.
I've seen Forrest Gump.
I've seen Forrest Gump.
Don't we talk about Forrest Gump in that one?
Jerry's not on the episode, guys. Anyway.
It's not Jerry. It's Tom Hanks. He'll be there. Anyway.
That's Thomas Hanks to you, tough guy.
Yeah, he's a tough guy.
So are we doing the wrap up?
Yeah, we are. I am Christopher Whedon, and you know what, gang? I'm sticking with it. I'm a history boy.
Nice.
I'm out there. I'm open with it. I'm going to tell my parents.
Good for you.
Next
Chris.
holiday season.
There you go.
that I am a history boy.
Good
and,
for you.
That's the last I'm going to hear from them, I'm sure.
Tyler Armentrout, history boy, dyed in the wool from the get go.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I just want to thank everyone so far for sticking with us, listening, and being big time fans of us.
I am Zach, all filler, no thriller mech, and I am a history boy.
Oh, good for you, Zach.
I feel like he's all thriller.
I thought so. I disagreed with that
I
statement.
find him thrilling.
You're full of shit.
Yeah.
You're all thriller.
And I am Jerry Nash, your humble history boys.
Mm-hmm.
As always, and thank you so much for listening to this series. It means a lot to me, honestly, guys. And real quick, just before we go, I honestly big shout out to our sources for this.
Mm-hmm.
John Bosnecker, Ride the Devil's Herd, fantastic book. Recommend that to everybody. Also, Paulie Johnson's The McClorys in Tombstone, Arizona. And Tom Clavin's Dodge City, fucking fantastic. Also, Gary Roberts' Doc Holliday, fantastic book. I just want to shout them out, as well as Bob Bosbell. I wouldn't be interested in Wild West history without Bob Bosbell. He's fucking fantastic. Go check him out. True West Magazine, he bought that in the 90s and turned it into like a history magazine rather than like a dime novel.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty dope. Bob Bosbell is the fucking man, dude.
Novels are cool too, though. So.
Yeah. Mr. Zach.
Love you, bye.
We had a lot of fun. We'll see you next time. Or I guess we won't, whatever.